grab your... Is your yerba open? Ah, bro. You got to start off the podcast with this sound. Woo!
Beautiful.
How's it going, everybody? This is Brian, joined with my co-host,
Juan Michael Cibrian.
and we are Main Character University. Man.
That's right. Welcome to this episode of Main Character University. It's been quite some time since when we've had a podcast. Since we've done a podcast. Been like
Since
a couple
we
months.
recorded, yeah.
Since we recorded, last time we recorded. This is going to come out, I believe this is going to be our 4th episode once it comes out. Today is December 8th or 7th?
7th.
December 7th. It's like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
We're at a college campus right now, at our local community college.
Yeah, we're at College of the Desert. We decided to do this episode somewhere different than our normal podcasting studio because we felt like we're in a season of change. Things are about to start changing for us. And so we need to change up our setting at least for this episode and future episodes. We're going to go back to being at the podcast, but we're going to switch it up every now and then. But if you see this episode and then you're like, you guys stop switching it up, well, it's because a lot of our episodes have already been filmed. We have like 8 episodes filmed already. They're at the podcast studio. And then for this one, we just decided to switch it up just because we feel the seasons are changing and things are changing in our lives. And we want to give you guys an update as to everything that's been happening. Not only for you, but also for us. We've kind of updated each other already. We went to go play pickleball this morning.
It was a great game with the homie Alex.
With our friend Alex. Shout out to Alex for setting that up. I won 2 matches. Brian won 1.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brian. I had to let him win 1 at least.
It was a close game, bro. It was
a close game, but
we're gonna have to run it back soon.
We're gonna run it back for sure. But yeah, brother, it's been a season of change. There's a lot of things that have happened in our lives since we started this podcast. One, I kind of want to talk about, what's been going on with you, brother? What's new with you? So tell me about, how about, we started the podcast the summer.
Let's let the people fill in. So, when we started the podcast, we were going in, this whole direction of, let's talk about education. Let's go more the school route.
The college route,
because that's where we were at. But then organically it just shifted into this whole organically it just on its own it redirected into this whole new format where instead of just tackling this one specific audience of just students and college students and whatnot, we were trying to get into what makes people great. What is the character within people? What drives people? We were trying to hear more of the people's stories, right? Because the whole premise of the podcast from there on went from not just helping people get into school, but more really getting to know about the people themselves.
That's right. And it's also originally we wanted to, reiterating what you just said.
Yeah.
We wanted to be in a world where we're already in. But we ended up realizing is that we know so many people, so many really cool people, and some of them haven't gone to school. They haven't gone the traditional route, yet they've accomplished so much. And how can we encourage and inspire others to be the best character that they can be? But the only thing we're talking about is college students. It's that doesn't make any sense. We need to expand the reach to encompass everybody because everybody is the main character of their own story. And so we had to expand so that we highlight those stories. And then looking back at the first podcast we dropped, it was looking back at it, I'm oh man, at that point we were still this is only for college students or students that are thinking about going to college. This is geared towards them. But since then we've changed. At this point when people watch this episode, my episode will have dropped. It'll be more geared towards the whole character, my whole character, and how I became who I became. But I really want to redo yours. Because there's so much that was missed on your episode because we just focus on you as a student and how you came about becoming a student. But there's so much backstory before you were on your college route. Just personal things that have happened to you that I feel are very important to highlight. Given
what's the what's the behind the scenes of a person? What drives you? What motivates you? What were those experiences in your life that kind of shifted you into going to a specific route, right? You know, what is the zest within a person, right? What makes them wake up in the morning and be like, you know what, I'm doing this. Well, you know, those whys. Finding out those stories, I think it just organically happened. But I agree, man. I agree. I felt like, you know, they're really, and you know what's so powerful is I'm doing this fellowship where one of the trainings we had a person talk to us about, you know, the power of connection, right? And they actually advocated for like LinkedIn and all that. I'm doing a fellowship, the Coin Fellowship, where it was like 5 students, so like all throughout California. But within that fellowship, we do trainings from like people that teach you about leadership. The whole fellowship is about leadership. But in that training, specifically about like connecting with people, it talked about don't just connect on a person from like on a surface level, like your job title, your status, because a lot of people make that mistake of like, hey, you know, Joe from HR, you know, from HR. That's what I do, right? A lot of people, when they go to conferences, that's what they lead by. Oh, you know, I'm so-and-so from Cal State Fullerton, for example. You know, like they lead off of that surface level, but the real way to make connections is to bond over shared experiences, shared hobbies, the human side of people, right? You know, hey, my name is Juan, or my name is Brian, and I like, you know, I'm a big fan of Nirvana, right? Music, things that connect people, like
WWE.
You
WWE'd out, right? And I don't think we even discussed your WWE, like how much you love WWE on the initial podcast, and like your YouTube channel that you have over 50,000 subscribers. I think it's like over 60,000 subscribers at this point. We didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about like this morning, today. I just found out Brian barely made it through his first year being alive. I didn't know you had an open heart surgery whenever you're like born, right? And so those are the things that like normally don't come up in a normal conversation, which like I really like the format of our conversations where we can get really dig deep, but these are aspects of your character that we've missed. And so in the original one, and we're gonna recreate it in the future, and you know, we're gonna fill in those gaps, and we're filling in a little bit of those gaps right now
as we go. But we realize that, you know what, through power of conversation, and again, our motto too has changed. The whole purpose of the podcast is for, we believe everybody is the main character in their story, and everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has a story to tell, regardless whether they're the school janitor, whether they're the president of the United States, whether like, you know, wherever they fall in this whole game of life, right? Everybody has a story to tell, because the thing about story is that our perspectives are different. And you know, me and you can witness a car crash, just boom, car's on fire. It's you know, it's crazy, or like with our two very own eyes. But the way that we tell that story is going to be completely different. Why? Because of our experiences. Why? Because of our perspective. And that's the thing, is that people are people, but people have their own experiences and their own ideas and their own way of looking at things. And even though that this world may, you know, there's already a lot of negativity and a lot of cynicism out there in the world, but there's beauty in the differences that we each have. And by getting to know, and by living in that world where you just hear someone out, you may learn something. You know, you might have learned a lot about wrestling that you might have not known, just because you're like, you know, you hear me out about my whole fandom of wrestling, or I might know a few things about, you know, business, just because I'm around you and that's what you're used to. So it's like, by being open to conversations like that, where you really get to know someone on a human level, bro, like,
it opens up a whole new world for you. It opened up a whole new world for me. I didn't know about WWE. I mean, I heard about it, right? Growing up, my parents wouldn't let me watch it, so it was like taboo in my home. And it's like a taboo in a lot of people's homes, but it's like grown men in underwear wrestling, like, well, like, what are you watching? And so there's a lot of taboo around it, and I'm like, you know, for a long time, I just kind of closed that whole world off, because my parents said it was no good. Society would like kind of judge you for it. But now, like, being your friend and like you tell me about it and me watching your stories and watching your vlogs of you going out to these events, I'm like, wait, hold up, wait a second. Like, maybe the storyline is fake. Like, maybe the outcomes are determined, but that person really just climbed up that cage that's 10 feet, 12 feet, 15 feet tall and just jumped onto another person. That was real.
Yeah.
And that's crazy and that's so intense. And then just watching the intensity of the fans and, like, how much, like, energy they bring into it. I'm like, whoa, this is really cool. Yeah. From an outsider's perspective looking in, if I would have not been open to the conversation, that world of WWE would never be open to me. But now through talking to you and, like, listening to your stories and listening to, like, how you describe the history of it and the storylines behind it, and then watching your videos, I'm like, actually, I want to go to a WWE match just to check it out. Yeah. Like, again, I'm not, let's say, per se, a fan of it. Like, I'm not.
Right.
And maybe I won't be, but at the same time, I can appreciate how much other people appreciate this sport and just how much energy goes into it, because there's an element of mastery of throwing events that big and having so many people come and then having them bring all that energy.
Yeah.
It's truly a magical thing, and it's something that even if I may not like it, may not go to anymore, but I just want to experience it. Yeah. Right? To just be in that energy of all those people just like coming together for the same thing. And I just think it's a really cool thing. But again, going back to the point of, if I'm not open to these conversations, if I don't have a conversation with you and really get to know you and just have an open mind about it, then that whole world would be closed to me. I would never know about the amazing storylines. I would not know about the amazing entertainment that goes on in that world.
Even the reason why people are fans in the first place. You may not like every wrestler, or like John Cena, or like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, or Stone Cold Steve Austin, but you can appreciate, the value that it serves. And I think there's like something to that, just like, the showmanship of it, the pageantry of it, the art of it, because it is an art. Like, the fact that this thing that may seem, kind of dumb in some aspect, but you have to acknowledge that it has some sort of impact, because it's able to bring people together. This one thing is able to sell out arenas. 40,000 people. So, for context, I recently went to my first ever, they call it PLE's Premium Live Event. Back in the day when I was a fan, it was called a pay-per-view, but usually it's a big show. So, I've always been a big wrestling fan, and that was because the common thing with wrestling fans is that it's something that it's generational. You grew up doing it, with your family, your brother, your dad, your grandparents, whatever, what have you. Just like every other like pastime sport, like baseball, right? It's something, like if you're a hardcore sports fan, it might have been because you were, indoctrinated because of family, right? Wrestling is the same way. And at least for me, I became a big fan because my brother was a big fan. He grew up in the mid-90s where wrestling was at its peak. Like, you had Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, The Rock. When wrestling was huge, WCW as well, another rival promotion that was kind of that caused WWE to really iterate, because they had went from a very character.
What's irate? What is that?
Huh?
What was that word? Irate.
Iterate.
Iterate.
Iterate from being like this, like the wrestlers being characters, like a wrestler was a clown or a wrestler was like a garbage man, from this cartoony like fantasy like wrestling to more of a real, like, okay, these are real personalities turned up to 10. Like, Stone Cold was a guy that hated his boss, would drink beer, cuss you out if he didn't like you, who'd shoot you straight. Like, either you loved, like, he was, what you saw was what you got. And that resonated with people, because in a time like that, who wouldn't want to say the F word to their boss and like hit a stunner on them and then drink beer with their buddies, Like, the thing about wrestling is that
put them in a chokehold. Who wouldn't want to put their boss in a chokehold?
Or like, even just, somebody that you don't like, you just tell them, in the words of D-Generation X, suck it, like rebellion. Like, that mid-90s period was a period of just rebellion. And a lot of wrestling symbolizes culture, is like, and the best wrestling is kind of like blurring between the lines between fiction and reality. So it's like there's a lot to appreciate. But like what I was saying before, I became a huge fan of it because of my brother. It's something that we bonded over because he, you know, showed it to me. He's my older brother, so it's like, of course, he's gonna have like the cool room, the cool posters. And I was like, what is this WWE? What is these video games? And I'll never forget. And I tell this story to people I always run into, other wrestling fans. Is like my first ever wrestling match happened because my brother happened to be renting a Blockbuster video at a rental store, at a DVD rental store. This is before Netflix. They used to have these stores where you would rent out DVDs, and back in the day, either you would like pay for like to like on cable or your cable provider to like see the big shows, because you had the weekly shows like on like USA Network or whatnot, and then they would have like those big payoff shows where like, you know, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, those would be like the big shows where like they would pay off the storylines. So like the weekly shows were kind of like to add to the drama, but then like the big shows, the big shows, they would be like the bigger arenas, and they would have like the payoffs to storylines. And so sometimes you would have to wait for like those shows to go on DVD in order to see them, which we did in my household. And then he rented out this one show called ECW One Night Stand, where WWE had acquired ECW, a small independent promotion, and it was their one of their last shows. But in that match was John Cena versus Rob Van Dam for the WWE World Title. Now that was a crazy match because John Cena in WWE was loved. He was like the champion at the time. But when it came to ECW, they were more hardcore. Now ECW changed the face of wrestling because the shows were a lot smaller, they were a lot more grimier. Like the energy was like a punk rock show where like the fans were so hardcore to it. They were chanting. This is before social media, so they were like saying a bunch of profanity stuff. Like it was crazy. And what changed ECW, the impact that they made on the wrestling world, was that it revolutionized hardcore wrestling, where like people would like beat the hell out of each other with tables, chairs, ladders. Like it not only showed wrestling like as a wrestling match, but as a grudge match. The possibility of like how somebody could hate someone so much that they would inflict so much pain onto them. And that changed in a way because it amplified those tools to be used in storylines. It's like it went from just like chasing a title to now I hate your guts because you like stole my wife, or like you like caused me this like career-ending injury, and now I want to break your neck. Like, but going back to that match, John Cena versus Rob Van Dam 2006, John Cena was loved in the WWE, but when he went to the rival promotion ECW, he was hated, he was booed. And I was 3 years old watching this, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on, but I just see like, man, they're booing him, and this man is just going through it like adversity. Normally he takes off his t-shirt, throws it to the crowd, and they'll get it. Not that audience. They threw it back at him.
That's hilarious.
They threw it back at him, but the whole time the crowd is rowdy. They're like, Cena sucks. A fan even had a sign saying, if Cena wins, we riot, dude.
That's crazy.
It was crazy. Like, I'm telling you, like, and I believe it because the building was shaking. All the fans were like frothing at the mouth, and that was the main event of the show. And I'm 3 years old, and I'm just like, man, like, these two guys in this ring are inflicting such strong emotions from this audience. And I didn't know what was going on, like, storyline wise at the time, but just watching it from like a children like perspective, I was like just drawn to that, like how these two people can inflict such strong emotion, and they're getting these reactions, and they're like having all this attention. And then I got hooked ever since. Rob Van Dam ended up becoming the WWE champion. Like, he beat John Cena, which was crazy, but it's like, man, like all that context, like the fact that these people or like inflicting just such strong emotion. And that's where I got hooked. That's where like my basis of like love for wrestling was, just because that's the whole root of it. You don't have to like everybody, but if they make you feel something, that's where the magic is. Because wrestling is not about good guy versus bad guy. In some scenarios, it could be. But wrestling, like all mediums of art, they make you feel something. And the best wrestling makes you feel the strongest emotions. And that's what I learned. And so, like, long story short, I've just been a huge fan ever since I was 3.
And so that's something that we didn't go over during your podcast, right? Yeah. And it's like you have your YouTube channel, Brian B. Wrestling. Yeah. Shout out to Brian B. Wrestling. Go check it out.
Dude, that in itself is a story on its own. Like,
yeah, how'd you come about Brian B. Wrestling? Okay, so I want to set up some context here. So for me, like, I admire you a lot. Like, I look up to you a lot. Appreciate in the sense of, like, wrestling. Like, one, starting a YouTube channel. Like, I look up to you for that. 2, for growing the YouTube channel. But 3, the thing that I look up to you the most on is starting a YouTube channel about wrestling. And the reason I look up to you the most about that is because that's something that I, like, if I love wrestling, that's something that I probably would have kept to myself, wouldn't share with the world. Like, I would have been embarrassed by it, but just because I didn't understand it. But that's just, like, from my previous understanding of it. Yeah. And then also understanding myself from, like, in a high school perspective. Yeah. Like, it's something I probably would have kept to myself. I probably wouldn't be advertising it.
You know what, man? Like, when you put it like that, like, I really did.
You really did. And so this is what this is why I'm giving you your flowers, brother. Because, like, for me, like, that would have been, like, out of everything that you could think about, like, to talk about, like, what would be the most embarrassing for me thinking about it? I'd be probably, like, besides pornography, it'd be probably like wrestling, right? Like, it's up there of, like, taboo things to talk about in my world, right? Because, again, my parents didn't like it, like, X, Y, and Z. But then seeing, like, you just, like, running with it, like, this is who I am, this is me, being unapologetic about it, and just like, hey, you either like me or you don't, but who cares? I'm gonna be me. And that's, like, very wrestling. Like, that's, like, the whole era of wrestling. That's, like, every character has their own character, and they have to believe in themselves first before anybody else can believe in them. And you believing in yourself and saying, you know what, screw what the whole world has to say. Like, screw what my peers in high school may have to say. Like, I already graduated. Who cares what they have to say? I'm gonna go do what I like, and I'm gonna put it out there. And so, like, again, like I'm giving you a lot of props, but it's because it's like, for me, that would have been something super scary and something, like, a really big leap for me to make. But you made that leap and you did it. But like, I want to tie it back into, like, how did you end up going about it? Were you ever, like, nervous? Were you scared? Were you like, who motivated you? Who got you to, like, actually start the channel? And then from there, like, what blocks in your mind did you have to overcome to actually, like, start putting things out? And, like, how long did you have the idea? How long were you sitting on it for? So, like, run us through that whole process of like, not even starting the YouTube channel to getting an idea of it to starting it and then moving forward. Man. And then where you're at now with it.
No, most def. So I have a lot to thank my good friend Angel Chavez.
Shout out to Angel.
Also, aka Coachella Angel on YouTube. So I have to thank, like, my friends, like my friend Angel specifically, because he was the one guy, the only creator friend that I really had, and that was, like, coming out of high school. So again, I just mentioned I've been a fan my whole life, but growing up, like, in the school setting, in middle school, elementary, high school, again, like how you said, it was very taboo. Well, in that period, so wrestling, again, it peaked in the mid-90s because it was raw, it was hardcore, it was, like, PG-13. You might have saw, like, girls, like, kind of, like, you know, in crazy angles and stuff like that. It was more, like, raw and gritty. But then when, like, I started growing up, like, around, like, the mid-2000s is when it started to become more PG, more, like, catered towards families instead of just teenagers and older adults. So when that demographic changed, it started to be seen as, like, kind of less cool. So wrestling, to me, always had that stigma of, like, yeah, it used to be cool, but not no more. And whenever like I would like talk about wrestling, I would always hear someone say, "Oh, well, that's fake. That's real." Like, always kind of like be brought down about it. And so I kind of grew up like just kind of like you, like being a kid. Like, I didn't really have that support of like anybody around me like liking wrestling like I did, or at least being, you know, outspoken about it. So I just kind of kept it to myself for a long time. Like, even my closest people didn't know I liked wrestling unless they like kind of opened up that can of worms, because I've always been a fan, man. Wrestling was that one constant in my life where no matter if I had a good day or a bad day, a good week, bad month, I always had Mondays, Fridays, sometimes the weekends to look forward to wrestling, because like it was always there. Like, it was that one thing I always tuned into because it made me happy. It was the one thing that, you know, and even when my brother kind of like didn't like stop watching it, you know, after a certain time, I kept watching it because I was hooked. Like, that was that one thing I looked forward to. And so I've always been a fan, man. I played the video games. I even watched YouTubers like, you know, like talk about it or like play the video games or what have you. So I've always been in this space where my whole life I've been watching, like consuming wrestling, even just watching the documentaries, like how a wrestler became a wrestler, how they put this match together, the lore behind like actual rivalries of like these two wrestlers that played like they didn't like each other, but in real life they really hated each other. Like, what is the, and then like all these different things, man. And it's just like I've always been consumed with it. I always had this like wrestling knowledge, I would say, that I had. Yeah, I always had this like wrestling knowledge that I had, and yeah, just keep it like that. I always had this wrestling knowledge that I had, and so it's just I never had like a way to express it. So, by fast forward, me graduating high school, I was like an 18-year-old kid. I was like, you know, I was about to graduate high school. Didn't really decide on what I like wanted to like do in my life, so I just like I could have gone to college, but I chose not to. I decided to like just kind of, you know, it was COVID time around that time, and then I met Angel. During high school, I was an engineering student. I thought I was going to go into engineering. During COVID, I really got like, you know, some time to think about myself and like think about like, you know, is this really what I want to do? You know, had I followed like most people's advice, you know, I would have gone that route, but I didn't, because I chose to kind of like really be critical about it, and like, you know, I wasn't ready to like make a decision like that, like this is what I'm gonna do with my life. So I decided to just like have a gap year, whatever, figure things out. But then I met Angel, and he was a videographer. I had seen him, he was making content around the valley, and then from there, you know, he gave me my first job offer of like helping him with his podcast, and that's right there was the start of me really dipping my toe into the content space, because here was someone that was making content on a local level and just opened this whole world of just like media, not traditional media like in the news or broadcasting, but in the social media aspect. And from there, I learned so much by doing, because I was producing his podcast, like Jamie from like the Joe Rogan, how he's like in the behind the scenes, like running the podcast. I was Angel's Jamie. Like, I was the one facilitating, doing the camera cuts. He would be like the main face of the show, but I was behind the scenes, controlling the show, doing the like the technical stuff. And then from there, I would help out Angel with filming any project that he had to do. And the thing about Angel is that although he would make stuff for his channel about like, you know, the community, he was a very big fan of music festivals, and that was his thing. And so he had this whole passion of like music, going to music festivals, so much so that he had like all this like cool knowledge about it, more than like anybody that I ever knew. And I was like, man, like I kind of have that, but with wrestling, where like I could talk your ears off. Like, I could give a whole history lecture about like about like wrestling matches like back in the 80s, 90s, what have you. Bless you. And so it really started from there, and then I got experience. And then one day Angel was like, man, you helped me a lot with the channel about, you always help me out. When are you going to start your channel about wrestling? Because like I've had like Angel seen it like happen where like I just light up whenever I get that chance to talk about wrestling. And Angel also watched wrestling too, so like that he kind of helped me, kind of like nudge me into like that space, like, hey, you have the chops, you have the experience of like making videos, creating videos, doing the technical stuff. You get the content mindset of like putting stuff out there. Do it. You have the passion for like this one thing, just do it. And so I did it. When I went to the first show, the first WWE house show, it was like a non-televised event. It was like a personal show here at Acrisure Arena. I went to it because it was my first actual WWE show that I ever went to like live in person. Because growing up, I always grew up watching it over like the TV, but I never attended a show myself. And so that was the first time. And so I decided, you know what? Since this is the first show, I'm going to make a vlog about it. And I had close seats to the ring. I recorded the whole show, my reactions to it, everything like that. And what happened that night, that because I took that gamble of like going to my first show, I now have a viral video clip that has 96 million views, because there was this one moment. So this is 2 years ago. There's this this up and comer wrestler. Her name was Tiffany Stratton. She came out of the ring like after a match, after like wrestling one of like the women's champion at the time, Becky Lynch. She came out of the ring just tired, holding her neck, like, and there was a fan right next to me, and the fan was heckling her. It's like, you suck. No, you. And then she's like, responds, no, you suck. No, suck my ass. And then like, man, like I'm recording the whole time, but the way that when she like was going back and forth, she looks directly at the camera, and so it looks like she's looking at me, but in reality I was like just recording the interaction between the guy next to me, and he was drunk, so of course. But so after that wrestling show, I stayed up like all night creating a vlog, making shorts, and then that was the clip that blew up, and it got like, now it's 97 million views. It literally got me my channel, because a lot of like the subscribers that I got was from that one clip. And even it got her attention, it got WWE's attention, so much so that one of my favorite content creators asked her about it. And so at that time, I had just made the video, the one YouTube video. I had posted some clips, it got some attention, and then I was kind of like focused on some school stuff. 3 months passed. I saw the video where she did like a interview with Chris, and from there, that's where I knew. I was like, man, one of my favorite content creators, but also that wrestler acknowledged it. It got like the attention of like, if it got the attention of not just him, but a wrestler, WWE must have saw it. And the cool thing too is that 2 years later, she now became a main event. She was in developmental, so she was kind of like in her rookie year, but then she became on the main roster and then became a women's champion. So my video is tied to her progress of like her becoming a star, because then she became like on the main card, on the main events, to actually winning the women's title. And so it's a cool story, man, because I'm so passionate about wrestling, like, and it felt like it was a gift, like man, like it was meant to happen in a weird way, because of course, like when I was making that video, in my mind, because of the content mindset, the skills that I have acquired, it was gonna go viral, but also because I understand my audience, because I spent my whole life consuming content, wrestling content. When I make my content, I can curate it to that same audience that I know is going to create it. So one, I knew I was going to make wrestling content just because I went to the event. Two, I know it like the back of my hand. Three, I had the chops for it. But like after it blew up, man, I kind of like went into this whole like this whole crazy funk of like, man, I've never seen like this many views on a YouTube video ever in my life. Even when I was working with Angel, like the most I've seen was like 1 million. Like, but I was like, man, this has like hundreds of million. And I'm like, I'm never going to make a video like this ever in my life. But then I started like, you know, I started contemplating about it. I hold on to it. But as like I don't post anything, the channel keeps growing. Every single day I'm getting constant notifications, comments about it. So much so that it's like even a few years, like 2 years pass by, the channel's still growing. So there's that clip has a whole life of its own, and it's like it provided me a YouTube channel where like I now like have like monetization on it, but I kind of like I chose not to like post anything on it just because like I didn't see myself as like that person to really be an influencer, because influencing, like, you know, being a content creator also has like a negative connotation. But I just like, I saw that in other people, but I never saw myself in that light because I never believed it, like I could do it. But then when it happened, it's like I still couldn't believe it. Like, what the heck? You know, like, what the heck? And so, yeah, man, I think the negative roadblocks is just that internal belief of like, man, I did the hard work, I did the thing, but I just didn't believe in myself. But now, kind of like being at like one of those shows where I met some of the content creators that I follow, some of them that I really support, I've noticed, I was like, I grew inspiration. And sometimes...
And you're talking about the content creators you met over the weekend went to the Pickle Park event.
Over Thanksgiving weekend, I went to Survivor Series in San Diego by the Padres Stadium, and I met Santi Zab, Chris Van Vliet, Anthony as well, and a few other creators, FaZe Rug. But I started noticing like all these content creators are doing it full time, and they're able to like meet people and hang out with people. But I just had that realization. It's like, I had time to speak to these people. I follow these people. Like, these people are just humans. They're as human as me. They're as fans as me. You know, like, if they're able to figure it out where like they can do it like as their, you know, job, or like they're like, this is what they do for a living, why not me? Because 60,000 subscribers is like is dude, I went to a baseball stadium with 46,000. Like, comparing those numbers, it's like, dude, that's a whole stadium. And then I saw that in person, and plus more, you know, like, in my mind, I'm just like, man, like, I got inspiration. And so now being on the back burner, my past mindset was like, I don't believe in myself, this is not me, because I'm used to being the guy behind the scenes. I'm used to being that guy holding the camera. But now I see that you have to be that person that's comfortable being in front of the camera, not being afraid of who you are. If that's part of you, like how you said, like being unapologetic, oh well. But it's a conversation starter. It's like now when I wear WWE clothing, somebody that gets it, I can have a conversation with them and connect with them. It happens to me like all the time now, like when I go to like stores like PacSun, where like I try to buy merch. Sometimes like the people that are selling the merch, they'll be cool, be like, oh bro, like I'm also a fan too, and you get to have that connection. But I didn't have that before because I was so closed off about it. So sometimes I realize like you gotta accept the person that you are and the person that you want to, you know, be online. Because just like wrestling, if you don't believe in yourself, how can people get behind you? And how can you really put your best foot forward in this content stuff? Because it really is a long game. Like, you can have subscribers, but if you don't have longevity, it means nothing. And a lot of the people that I met have longevity. Like, and that's what, and even Angel, like, you know, like he's been on YouTube for 10 plus years covering things like festivals. So it's like, I respect that because there's somewhat consistency to it. And so to me, it's just getting over that hump of, hey, I'm here. I belong here, because I need to get rid of that old me of like believing that's not me. They don't need to know. But in reality, that's who I am, bro. Like, I'm Brian, the wrestling fan. Like, that's part of me. It's not all of me, but that plays a huge role in my life, because at the same time, it connects me to my family. It connects me to my brother, who passed away too. And I started thinking about that too when he passed away. Like, the two things that he left me with, apart from like the many lessons too and the memories, was my nephew, but also my love of wrestling. Because, like, I'm a huge wrestling fan because of him. And like, even with him being gone and, you know, in the physical form, that also connects me to those memories of us bonding. So it's like, by also being a wrestling fan, it's also keeping those memories of him alive. And I think there's like, that's the beauty of it too. Is like, when you grew up doing something like that, being a fan of something like that, it connects you to loved ones. And so, again, it's something you're passionate about. It connects you to other people. It connects you to your loved ones. It's like, I think I found my place. And I think it's just, the focus now is to just own it.
I love that. I love this story, and this is why I really wanted to highlight it, is that you're going through that main character journey of that doubt, like, and discovering things, and somebody presents something to you, and what I mean is, Coachella Angel tells you, like, sees your potential, sees everything that you're up to, sees how you're helping him.
I just want to make sure that the camera's still rolling.
Yeah, me
We're
too.
good.
All right, sees how you're helping him, and that you can do the same thing for yourself, and like him being a great friend and pushing you to pursue something that you love, something that you're passionate about, and then you saying, okay, you know, I'm terrified, but since you see this potential in me, like, let me do something with it, and let me go to my first show. And then after my first show, I'm going to film something. And then you ended up filming something that ended up going viral. And that gave you a sign. Like, hey, you're on the right track. Like, you're exactly where you need to be. Because what are the odds that on your first show, you sit next to a heckler that you happen to film when Tiffany Stratton happens to be walking by, and that she responds to that heckler at that time that you're recording? Like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
What are the odds? They're very, very slim odds that actually ends up happening. And then that you end up posting it. Your friend told you, hey, you need to start posting content about WWE. You go to your first show. You film a viral moment.
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds? And I feel like the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, always gives us a sign where we're on the right track.
Yeah.
Doors just open for us easily. You don't have to force yourself in. Although sometimes you do, depending on what it is, just to prove that you really want it. But a lot of times, doors just open up effortlessly, right? Like when we started this podcast, all of a sudden, like, we had a podcast studio out of nowhere. Yeah. When we were originally going to film inside of a library. Yeah. Right? And so...
We actually tried to do that, like, before this.
Right before we came to the College of the Desert today, we went to the library, and somebody was studying in a study room next to us. And both study rooms are connected, so we couldn't talk. Yeah. And so we didn't want to interrupt them, so we actually came here to film. And so that's why we're outside right now. Yeah. But going back to what I was saying is that, like, you believed in yourself and you took that leap, but then the universe said, yes, you're on the right track, but then you were still scared. And so this is what I wanted to highlight, is that fear, because it's really important to highlight it, because there's going to be a lot of people that have opened that door, have seen what's behind that door, have seen that's for them, and then they close that door because they're terrified of what that actually looks like. And that it's not for them. Those limiting beliefs start to set in, and they start to play out, and then you end up now acting on it. So you have the YouTube channel. You're trying to ignore it, but more and more subscribers every single day. Even when you try to ignore it, it keeps going. It keeps building. And so you, like, there's the call to adventure, per se. If we take this to the hero's journey, there's the call to adventure. You answered the call, But then there was a test, and then you're like, you know what, I'm not ready for it yet.
Yeah.
And so you leaned away from it. And so you went and you lived your life, continued building skills, and then eventually you get to a point where you're like, you know what, this thing of content creation, I can do it. You end up going to this event over the weekend, and you start seeing other content makers of like that are WWE content creators, and you see them doing it, and you see that, hey, actually these guys are just normal people. I'm a normal person. They're doing exactly what I'm doing, and they're doing things that I enjoy watching. I can recreate this, and I can do this for myself. And so that's like a really cool step, and like something that like I kind of pushed us to have this podcast and us to give us the update, so like the people can be updated on the fact that that you're making that leap in your own life, that you're becoming that main character, right? Because like we talk about being main characters and being the main character of your own story. It's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to live it. And so I really want to highlight how you're living through it, you're going through it currently, and the doubt that came in 2 years ago, even though you had a viral video, now it's at 97 million views, which for a normal person, what is like, wow, that's really good, that's very successful, that's very successful, but continuing that success is very difficult. And following up on that, and then like continuing and believing in yourself, like, hey, I'm meant to do this. I'm meant to create content on this subject. And so I just think it's really cool. And then this is like something that connects you with your brother, right? And then like this is something that you guys bonded over, and how you get to recreate that for other people, in the sense of you get to, through promoting wrestling on YouTube, you get to connect families, right? With like, let's say you're talking about one wrestler and you like get to explain a different aspect on it, or you because of your videos, somebody that doesn't know about wrestling all of a sudden becomes interested,
right?
And then they end up going to an event, and then they end up loving it, and then they bring their family with them.
Absolutely.
And so they end up creating better bonds with their family based off of the videos that you created. Based off of the love that you have for your brother and the homage that you give to him every time you create a video and every time you post something. So it's just a really cool circle moment. And then you go in and seeing these content creators and them doing what you want to do.
Like, to add on to the content creators, like, there's only 2 content creators that I could say I actually like planned to like see them. The rest were like serendipitous. So for example, FaZe Rug, who's like a huge like Mr. Beast type of like content creator, who was like, I grew up actually watching this guy like back in the day, like 2015, 16, because he was part of FaZe Clan, like this like huge like gaming organization. But like back then, there's a group of guys that were YouTubers that were like living at this one house, kind of like, think of like a college frat house, but they're all YouTubers. Like, these were the first guys that kind of made it cool to be a gamer, but they're all like bros and like living in a house, and so they will all do like vlogs with each other. This dude like still continued making YouTube videos, but he was somebody that I looked up to, like kind of like, as a kid, because essentially they're living the dream of like being content creators and like making money off of like YouTube, and like that's what they do for work. But I ran into him serendipitously. I was in the line buying merchandise on the floor once we got inside the actual baseball park at Petco Park. I was in line, and then all of a sudden in my peripheral, I see like FaZe Rug coming in with like, just this crowd of people. People were coming up to him. I was like, who is that guy? And like, he was my height. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, I just thought he was a regular person, because I feel like most successful people are like taller. So I was like, he gives me hope. Under 6 feet gang. But I saw him, and then I ask him $1 million question. Just like, I taken the photo with him, super nice, super humble. Most content creators, they're like, unless they're like Hollywood, they'll be cool. But he was super cool. I asked him for a picture, and then once I asked him for a picture, I asked him like what I ask everybody, all like wrestling fans: what made you a wrestling fan? And he's been, and what's crazy is that he acknowledged that he's been a fan since 2007. So roughly around the same time I've been a fan. So I'm like, man, that's so crazy. I mean, granted, he did state that he like, fell out of it because like, personal reasons, what have you. But then he got back into it, and he lives in San Diego, which is crazy. But he was there, and I had that connection with him. I had that one-on-one time. So I'm like, man, like, that's crazy. Like, I just ran into a dude I grew up watching, and I didn't even mean to happen for it. So like when you say about like, you know, the universe just sometimes gives you doors or gives you opportunities, it's like, man, like the world really is your oyster if you think about it. If you like gravitate towards the things that you like organically gravitate towards, because you don't know, like how you mentioned, like what's on that other side of fear, but it's like what's on the other side of possibility.
Ooh.
You know, it's like, you know how they say one man's trash is another one's treasure? Well, one man's missed opportunity is another one's gain.
Yeah.
In the sense of like, you know, where life, I think I feel that it's really about perspective, because sometimes when you look at things, somebody that sees something and is scared of it, is scared of like change or like a possibility, or like the difference between like someone that really makes like something out of themselves is oftentimes they just roll the dice. They're like, you know what, I'm still scared, but I'm gonna do it even though I'm scared. It's not getting rid of that fear, because it's a natural thing. You'll always be scared of change. Humans, we're kind of, you know, it's in our wiring that we're gonna be scared. It's okay to be scared, but it's just like acknowledging that, you know what, and oftentimes when you do go on that other side, you realize it really wasn't that bad, or at least you don't have that regret of like, man, I should have done it. Like, you don't live with that regret of like, I really wanted to do this, but I never did because I was scared, or like because of XYZ reason. And so in a way, I look at it that way, because I think for me that weekend, the biggest thing was exposure. Sometimes like you got to see it to believe it. You got to see that, you know, there are people out there, no matter what you want to do, whether if you want to, you know, be a business person, you want to do content creation, you want to be a chef, you want to be the president of the United States, whatever it is that you want to do that's in your soul, that you naturally gravitate towards or you want to gravitate towards, just understand that the world is abundant. It's filled with many opportunities. There's someone out there that is doing what you want to do. And I think the biggest thing that you can do for yourself to break limiting beliefs is to go out and connect with those people. Go and meet those people that are doing the thing that you're doing, because they could help you via like directly or indirectly by giving you motivation, because it's like you're seeing it like live in color that it's possible. And sometimes like if you don't have resources, if you know, didn't grow up with resources or things like that, or support, it could be the one thing that you could probably like that could catapult you, that could give you that motivation, that encouragement to keep going, that know that it's possible. Because sometimes at least like for a person like me that didn't really grow up with much, sometimes you come from that area of lack where it's like, man, I didn't really have support. I didn't really have people in my life that supported my love of wrestling. So of course, like, I'm going to feel this way. So when you think about it that way, when you see someone that does, or you're in an environment that's cultivating that love, yeah, of course you're going to want to like be like, it's like you're hooked, man. Like you found your tribe, and that's the thing that you need. But for me, seeing a whole stadium of wrestling fans, a baseball stadium, 46,000 people in attendance in my own very eyes, those memories of like hearing like negative things about wrestling, like, oh, wrestling's fake, it's not cool. You can't tell me it's not cool when you have like a whole arena filled of wrestling fans. Like, people wrestling sold out a baseball arena. People were not there watching baseball. They were not watching the Padres play against the Dodgers. Nah, they sold out an arena watching wrestling. So you cannot tell me wrestling ain't cool when it's sold out an arena. And not to mention, like, you know, the amount of people it brought, like, it brings together. Like music, it brings people together. this one weekend, the energy was captivating. So it's like, yeah, man, I think for me the biggest thing that I took away from that weekend was exposure.
And that's beautiful. And like what you mentioned about the content creators and them coming in and talking to you is very similar to when we talk about mentors, finding a mentor, but it's also finding somebody that you look up to. So finding a role model, right? Finding somebody that's doing what you're doing and then modeling them, and then also finding ways to put yourself in the same space as them, right? Sometimes you can plan it out, like they'll have meet and greets. Sometimes you can't, right? Yeah. You just happen to go to a wrestling event and they just so happen to be there too. Yeah. But you just kind of like see, it's like monkey see, monkey do. You repeat what you see, and that's what life is all about. It's all it's a giant game of monkey see and monkey do. Yeah. Right? Picasso, he's got this famous quote where it's like, good artists
steal.
No. It's like something, and a great artist steal.
Yeah.
Good artists create, or like, I forgot the exact quote. But the gist of it is that great artists steal. Now, why would great artists steal? Well, if you think about it, you're always recreating anything that you see in the universe and then making it your own. So you see a concept, you see some art, and then you're like, that's pretty cool. But you know what would be cooler if you did this, this, and this. And so making it your own. So that's essentially what we as humans do, is we see other people doing things that we want to do, and then we go and do them, right? But we make them our own. Like, we may do it exactly how they do it because we enjoyed how they do it, but then we may be like, oh, actually, now that I've got it down how they do it, now let me do it my way. Like, I think it might work better this way, X, Y, and Z. Let me innovate it this way. And so it's a constant game of creating the reality that you want to create based off of the reality that you've already seen. Yeah. And what you've seen is possible. And sometimes you have to create the impossible. You have to visualize what isn't here yet so that others are able to visualize it. And in other words, to say this is you need to believe in yourself before others believe in you. Yeah. And the reason behind that is because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody's going to believe in you. But if you believe in yourself, then somebody's going to start believing, and eventually everybody will start believing. And it depends on like what battle do you want to battle? What hill do you want to die on? And we all have to decide what hills we want to die on. And what do I mean by that? Is that we all have problems, struggles, things that are important to us in our lives. And for everybody, whatever is the most important is slightly different. And so that's the hill that you die on, right? And so it's a battle that you're willing to fight. It's a battle you're willing to fight till the end. And so sometimes we don't discover these battles until like we're well along in our lives. Like, hey, like you keep going, and it's like, for me, it's education. Like, I want people to educate themselves and to be the best main character that they can be, right? That's the hill I'm willing to die on. For somebody else, it may be the cleanest water. I want people to have the cleanest water possible, because whenever I was growing up, I didn't have clean water, or X, Y, and Z, right? So on and so forth. But it's important to see other people doing what we want to do and then recreating it and making it our own, but taking inspiration from them is extremely important. And like, I think it's like one of the greatest things that we can do as human beings. But yeah, man, it's just like it's just a really beautiful time that we're in, and we're in a season of change. Like things are changing for us.
We spoke about me, like you talk about like season of change. Like for me, it's kind of like been like leaning more into this whole like content creation space. For me, it's been like, you know, leaving my retail job. Like I've been like using
where were you working?
I was working at a gas station.
What was it called?
Damn, do I really want to expose it?
Yeah, expose it, like, because I wanna say the quote, brother, because it's a great quote.
Yeah. No. I didn't see the play, but so I was working at a gas station called Love's. They're kind of like a
shout out to Love's. Love's is great.
Love's is great. But I put in my 2-week notice, you know, working there. And
when did you put it in?
Huh?
When did you put in your 2-week notice?
Like 2-3 days ago.
2-3 days ago.
But this had been on the back of my mind for like a while, because it's kind of getting, again, we talk about that, the other side of fear. I was contemplating this, you know, doing it because of like that security of like finances. Now, granted, I'm still, you know, in college and whatnot, but in stepping into this new role of, you know, adopting content creation, me acknowledging that I have a platform that's established already, I cannot that one day it paid me more than I did my paycheck. There was a month
Really?
where, yeah, and that's why I was contemplating it. Well, I was like, man, I got paid and I didn't do nothing off of a video I made 2 years ago. Imagine like if I keep making like one day I was like, it was right there, it hit my bank account, and I got a message from Google like, yeah, you got paid. But I was like, man, like I just got paid from a video I did 2 years ago. Imagine if like I keep posting, like you know, or like the opportunities I could attract from that, from like honing in into this new avenue. But I contemplated doing it because of that security. Like, hey, you know, doing it like to, you know, pay bills or
Like
whatever.
keeping the job. You contemplated keeping
yeah,
the job.
keeping the job because, you know, I did what I could to like kind of move up, but the job isn't aligned with like, you know, with me and stuff like that. And there's nothing against the job, but it's just like I feel like I've overstayed my welcome, and at least like for my own personal goals, it's just not there. And it's time to kind of like, hey, you know, appreciate the work, appreciate the opportunities, but it's time for me to, you know, kind of do my own thing. And yeah, so like it's kind of like having, because I now know that I want to value my freedom, and kind of being like honed in to like a position where it's like, you know, you want to explore, but you just don't have the time nor the energy, like with like so many commitments. Like school is already like one commitment, but having a job and then the content, and then that's where it kind of like
it becomes a lot.
It becomes a lot. There's a lot that adds to your plate. And so again, I decided, like after talking to you, like I was like, you know what, I'm thinking about doing this, and I officially went with it, and I did it.
I talked to Brian, I think it was on Monday, and he was telling me about giving me an update on the weekend about like all the energy, about seeing these content creators, about how he could be doing it too. And I was just like, and then he was like, you know, I've been thinking about quitting my job. I'm like, Brian, like, listen, brother, you need to quit your job yesterday. Like, if you can put in your 2 weeks notice today, do it. And the reason I say that is because I was like, Brian, brother, like if you didn't have over 60,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel, this would be a completely different conversation. This is what I told him. I was like, Brian, like if you didn't have 60,000 subscribers and you're like, hey Juan, I want to start a YouTube channel about wrestling, and like that's what I want to dedicate my whole time to, and I'm thinking about quitting my job to go do that. I'd have been like, Brian, you know, how about we do that, like do the content creation part-time, like maybe cut down on your hours a little bit at work, and then, you know, build up your channel. But I'm like, Brian, you have 50,000, over 50,000, over 60,000 subscribers at this point. Like, you should have quit a long time ago. You should have been pursuing this full-time for a while. But I also knew that he had to come to this conclusion by himself. And so when he told me, like, I'm thinking about quitting, I was like, brother, you need to quit, like, as soon as possible. And so I was like, you need to quit, like, put in your 2 weeks notice. And he was hesitant about it. He's like, really? You think so? I'm like, bro, you need to, like you have so much talent. You have so much talent and so much that you bring to the world. Like, why wouldn't you? And you're in a financial position where you can. Like, it just makes sense. Now, if you weren't in a financial position where you could, okay, a different conversation would be having. Right. But you are in a financial position. Your dad said, hey, you know, if you want to pursue this content creation stuff, go for it.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing, too, is that my parents were supportive about it. They're like, look, the thing that they cared about was like, hey, as long as you're getting paid for it, you know, and like you're, you know, you have time to also like focus on school too, like have a backup plan basically, you know, go for it. And they were so cool about it. And I think that also like helped me too, is like, you know what, but also think about the positives. It's like, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen? I go back to the job, or I get a different job, or whatever, right? That's the worst thing that can happen. The worst thing, like there's been like other things that are far worse than that reality happening. Yeah. Like, you know, so in that perspective, what's the worst thing? I get a regular job. Cool. That's not too bad. Like, it's like, not too bad if I think about it. But what will be bad will be the regret of like, damn, I never really gave it a run.
You never tried.
I never gave it.
You never did it.
I never gave it my best shot.
Your all.
My all. Because the same way how like, if I'm giving it my all at this one job that like has, you know, that isn't fully aligned with me, imagine if I do something like that was aligned with me, And mind you, I was able to do that from like when I first started, and that already paid me dividends already. Like, so imagine if I do that in a year, 2 years, you know, like God did a lot in 7 days. Like, you know, God did a lot in 7 days. And so I feel like
He sure did.
God is giving me like this sign, because like I was thinking about like, man, if God didn't want me to have this blessing, the channel would have died a long time ago. Because it's been 2 years since I posted.
Yeah.
But now that like, and like the fact that the channel's still alive, is growing, it's been growing over a span of 2 years without posting like videos, that's a blessing.
Big time.
So I feel like it's a reminder, like, hey, like John Cena says, the time is now.
Time is
The
now.
time is now. So if I don't do it now, the time will be up and it'll move on to something else.
And, you know, it's funny that you say this whole story, because I was, like, just listening to the John Cena podcast with Joe Rogan last night.
Yeah.
And he talks about, like, him coming into the industry of WWE, and he was like, you know, it kind of happened as an accident. Somebody told me, like, hey, do you want to come practice wrestling with us? And then I was like, yeah. And then it's just like, hey, you're pretty good at this. Do you want to come to one of our live shows and, like, do this? It was like, sure, let's try it out. And, like, I already enjoyed it as a kid. I thought it was a ton of fun. So, like, now, like, okay, so, like, what are my options? I put on some underwear. Like, I go out half naked and I do what I love. And, like, maybe I make it, maybe I don't. But if I don't, at least I did it.
Yeah.
And if I do make it, well, I'm doing what I love. Like, I'm doing something that really brings joy to my heart. So, that's just, like, a crazy thing that, like, you know, like a concept that he brought to mind. And then he was like, honestly, I had to believe in myself first and becoming this character before anybody else could.
Well, yeah, because as a wrestler, it's like, how can you believe the words that they're projecting, the character? How can you get behind someone if they don't even believe in their own hype?
They don't even believe in their own hype. But it's like, these are characters that they come up with themselves. And this is like what I want to highlight, is that you can create whatever character you want.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like what this whole podcast is about. You can create whatever character you want, and then you start developing that character. Because you don't become that character all the way immediately, but you start developing him, and you start giving him traits, and then you start developing those, and you become better and better, and eventually you end up becoming the John Cena that everybody knows and loves. You end up becoming the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson that everybody knows and loves. You end up becoming whoever you are. Insert your name here. That everybody loves, right? And maybe everybody already loves you, but it's like that loves you even more because you're your true, authentic self.
Right.
And they love you for who you are, not for who you have come up with in order to please everybody, right?
Yeah. Because I think the worst thing is, like, sometimes we hide that truest version of ourselves, or the version that we know is out, like, is within us, that we just need to, like, show the world, like, hey, this is who Scott is, this is who Juan is, this is who Brian is. And, like, the thing is that, like, being okay that not everybody is going to be on the same boat with you, but that's okay, because the opposite happens. The people that do support you will support you.
They will love you so hard because you're you. And the people that are going to hate you, they're going to hate you. I was watching this video, and it's like, people are going to hate you whether, like, you do the right thing or you don't.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to hate you either way, so you might as well do what you love.
Bro, speaking about hate, I got my first hate comment on a video I posted.
What is hate,
So,
bro?
over the weekend, I met one of my favorite wrestlers growing up, Rey Mysterio. While I was in San Diego, I ended my weekend meeting Rey Mysterio. I waited like at 5 a.m. Trying to meet him. The event was like 9 until like 11. And so I spent like over like 4 hours trying to meet him. And when I finally got like the chance to meet him, I had this heart-to-heart, connection. So I was wearing this shirt of this wrestler that passed away, and it was like one of his like closest friends growing up, because he grew up with him, but he also wrestled with him like in his earlier career in Mexico. His name was Eddie Guerrero. To other wrestling fans that they know the name Eddie Guerrero, he passed away in 2005. He was one of the first Latino Mexican champions, WWE champion in WWE. And so, like, to a lot of Hispanics, to a lot of Latinos, he was like that representation for us. So, like, because wrestling for a long time was like a white thing, it was like a white dominated thing. So you didn't really see a lot of like colored champions. If you did, it'd be like once in a blue moon. So he had like a lot of cultural impact, and of course Rey Mysterio did as well. But just meeting the legend, as I was coming up to him, I see him, and I'm wearing his friend's shirt, and that's the first thing that he pointed out was like, "Hey, I like that shirt, man," and he was like, "Oh, where'd you get it?" I'm like hugging him and everything, like posing for the picture, and I say, "Oh, I got it at this store, whatever," and as like he pointed that out in that split second of a moment. Mind you, this is a meet and greet. By this time, it's already late in the meet and greet. They're trying to get people in and out, in and out. He was so cool. He gives me his time and gives me a coolest response ever. He tells me, man, I ask him the question, what's your fondest memory of Eddie Guerrero? Because he pointed it out. We're on that same topic, right? And he tells me the coolest thing. He's like, man, my favorite memory of him was me and him in my backyard in San Diego at 2 a.m. just chilling in my jacuzzi, talking about life, shooting the shit. And that was pretty much it. And like that answer was so cool because I got it from Rey Mysterio, like the friend of Eddie Guerrero, not Rey Mysterio the wrestler. And that was so cool because I'm an actual fan. So I asked that question because obviously I'm a fan of both.
I got a question for you real quick.
What's that?
Do you think they're both in there in the jacuzzi with their masks on?
Nah, I don't think so.
All right, continue. Sorry.
I don't think so. Well, Eddie Guerrero didn't wear a mask. He
didn't?
Like in his earlier career he did it, but like Rey Mysterio was the one with the mask. I don't think so.
Mask off?
Mask off, yeah. So I thought it was cool because it was like, man, like he gave me his time to answer it. And I saw in his face, like, it brought emotions out of it.
Yeah,
it was a real answer. Like, it was a real answer. But, like, from a fan perspective, it's like, it's been over 10 years that the man has been, like, he passed away.
Yeah.
But people, us fans, we still keep him alive, too, because of the impact that he had in the industry, in wrestling, and just how much, he really inspired a lot of us. And so, but there was some people that really took offense to it. They're like, man, how could you, like, I'll never forget, I showed Angel this. He's like, man, I can't believe you asked him that personal question. Like, you asked somebody about their dead friend. If I was Ray, I would have punched you straight up in the face. And I'm like, bro, it's not that deep. Like, I was wearing his shirt. I'm in support. Like, I could see what angle they were coming from, but I'm like, look, he didn't have to answer the question, but he did. And I'm grateful for that. But it's like to come at it, and I just like learned. I was like, man, like, damn, somebody like, even though I like asked a real question, and I like am a fan myself, somebody took it out of context because of the way they see things, and it's just
from
like
their perspective.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, like you saw it from this, but it was really like this in this scenario. And then what's the funniest thing ever in that comment, they apologized. They're like, oh, okay, like you should have added that context in the video. I mean, it was a clip, so like, but it's just like, man, like, it just goes to show, like, no matter what intentions you have, people are gonna hate regardless. And I just thought it was a funny example, because it's true, like, but I found it funny. And even if people hate, especially on your videos, it's extra comment. Like, sometimes your haters are your biggest fans because they're the ones engaging with your content. Sometimes the people that like you don't engage with your content, and that's cool. I encourage you to do that because that helps like your friends and like engage your posts and stuff like that. Because with social media, people that get the most engagement like get shown up the most in the feeds and stuff. But the haters are always the ones that are commenting because it's like, they're like, they have those emotions. They're like writing all these paragraphs. And so it's cool. Like, I was like, and then Angel like said the coolest thing. He's like, when he saw the hate comment, he's like, bro, you made it.
There you go. Hey,
your
that's cool.
haters are your waiters at your table of success. I'll say it again because that's a bar that I had in the back of my pocket and I've had it for a long time. Your haters will be your waiters at your table of success.
And that one reminds me, I don't think I ever said the quote about loves.
Going about loves. This man spatted that word.
All right, so
much.
I was telling him, so when I was convincing Brian to quit his job, I was like, Brian, you need to stop working at Loves so that you can work in what you love. And I'll repeat that again for the people in the back. It's like, Brian, you need to stop working at Loves so you can start working in what you love.
Yeah. And that hit deep when he said it like the first time because I'm like, damn, that's a bar, like, for my life, like, really. And again, like how you said it, had I had no platform, no subscribers, like if I wasn't monetized, like, yeah, we'd be having a different conversation, of course, but there's opportunity, and I'm in a position where the only thing holding me back is just me, you know. And I think it's just, again, being on that other side. Juan, we spent so much time talking about me. Now let's flip the script and talk about Shu. So what's going on with Shu, man, in your life and this season of your life? Obviously, we covered some of my stuff of like me going into this whole content creator space. But let's talk about Shu, man, because you two are part of this. You two are, part of this MCU podcast. What's going on? What's been happening in the life of Juan Michael Cibrian?
Oh, man, a lot's happened. So, we started a podcast over the summer. That was really cool. And then this semester, so I'm in my senior year of my college experience. I've been in college for like over 8 years now. I've taken my time with it. I'm ready to graduate. I was supposed to graduate this December, but because of one class, I couldn't, and so I had to take that class in the spring. I could have taken it this semester, but there's 2 classes that I needed to take, and they happened at the same time.
Yeah.
So I had to move it over to the spring. So now I'll be graduating in the spring. But with that being said, this semester has been one of the most stressful and one of the most work-intensive semesters I've ever had in my college experience, and it has been like a pressure cooker of just the work alone, just like essay after essay after essay due, and then test after test, quiz after quiz, and then like the work throughout the week, reading just like books, not books on books, but like just reading like lots of chapters in the books. And so it's been super work intensive for me. And then on top of that, I went to 3 conferences, and I went to El Salvador last minute. The one conference was last minute, like I didn't have that plan, and then one was going to El Salvador. I didn't have that plan, and that just came out of nowhere, and it was like very intense. And again, like at the same time that I'm having one of the most intense seasons of my college career. But I'm really proud of myself, to be honest with you, because I've just like been accomplishing all the assignments that I've had and doing everything that I need to do in my role as a student, but then also as part of a student government. And so I haven't done as much as I've wanted to in student government, but I've done like what I wanted to do, accomplish this semester. And so it's just been a pressure cooker. I've been very fortunate. I got to go to Orlando for a conference out there for the HFTP. It's called Hospitality, Finance, and Technology Professionals. So it's a club and organization for professionals, and then they also have student chapters. But the professional chapter, they'll have an annual convention every year where they invite all their all the people in their club out to Orlando or wherever they host it. They host it in different locations throughout the United States. Yeah. So this year it happened to be in Orlando. So we flew out to Orlando. This is something that the club paid for. Like we do fundraising events where we host like a ballroom events. We host like wine tasting events. So we raise money for our club, and then that's how we're able to travel.
For those trips,
Pay for those trips. So because I'm very involved in the club, they're like, hey, listen, we got this position open. Would you like to go? So I was like, yeah, of course, I'd love to go. Yeah. So I ended up going, and it was really cool being able to see like what's available for professionals. Yeah. And so like one of the things is like for country clubs, golf resorts, hotels, there's a company that I found there that like they do group orders. So let's say you have 5 hotels and they all order similar products.
Right.
Well, they come together with this one company and then they'll buy in bulk so that they get each unit for less money.
Right, like Costco.
Like a Costco. So it's very similar to that. But this company does that for the hotels and stuff. So they're tabling. So I got to learn about them. I got to learn about like point of sale systems, inventory tracking systems. So it was really cool learning about, like, one guy I talked to, I forgot his name, but he was telling me about, all these people think that automation and AI makes like everything easy. Like, it's like, that's not the truth. The automation is going to make sure that you don't have to do any more work. And that's not true. He was like,
no.
Essentially, it just means that you need to put in accurate information so that you can get gold out. So it's like you put gold into the system, into the AI, you're going to get gold out. So you need
to make sure, because the AI on itself will make mistakes. So you have to like make sure that there's oversight. Like somebody that's like, you're not just letting the AI do everything, because sometimes it might make a mistake. It might over order, it might like do all these different things, but you need to make sure like there's somebody in place to like oversee that.
Like there's still work to be done. It's just not as much as you had to do before.
Right.
And then just making sure that your inputs are correct so that your outputs can be correct. Because if your inputs aren't correct, they're going to be wrong. Your outputs are going to be wrong.
Speaking of that, like that thing, you mentioned that I actually knew somebody, a business owner, who was running like a suit company, right? Mm-hmm. They had this manufacturer that, and like, I don't know where exactly their manufacturer was, but they had like a inventory tracking system, but it was AI. Mm-hmm. This was like 2 years ago as well. They had implemented the system. One of the owners had implemented the system. It was AI, and they implemented it with their orders, like all their so like people online could buy their like suits, if they were selling suits. But then they didn't monitor that system, and what happened was the system by itself over ordered. So like every time they would get an order, it like would order 5 suits.
Oh my gosh.
And that caused like such a huge problem, because basically that got messaged out to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer ended up producing all those suits, and they had to buy that.
That's crazy.
So and they had like this huge problem of like trying to pay back, like all those suits that they produced and stuff like that. But he learned, like, just because it's like it's this whole buzzword of AI, like how you mentioned, it's going to be automated. It means you don't have to do work. No, you still have to make sure that the information is correct, because yes, like even though it's like it's amazing, this technology, just like everything else, it's not perfect. It's bound to like have some hiccups, and it can cause problems if it's not checked.
Exactly. So it's like really cool to learn that. I also learned they had some like professional development on like how to run your business and the importance of small conversations.
Yeah.
Just like saying, hi, how are you doing? How's your week going?
Yeah.
Right. And like how that makes people feel valued and seen within their job. And then having people reducing role ambiguity within your organization. So
what does that mean?
Role ambiguity is people not knowing their role in the organization, how much power they have, what they can and can't do, what is their role, like what are they supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they have a lot of role ambiguity. Ambiguity means that they don't know what their role is, or there is unclearness in their role.
Yeah.
And so through having role ambiguity, people don't necessarily know all the power that they have. They don't know the things that they can do. They don't know what is asked of them. They don't know what success looks like. So what this whole workshop was about is like telling people and having communication and having talks and letting them know, hey, this is what success looks like. And so once you make it to what success looks like, it's like yeah, you're doing a great job. Yeah. And so people know what's expected of them, so they can accomplish what's expected of them. Because if they don't know what's expected of them, they're not going to accomplish what's expected of them. They might, but it might just be an accident. It might just be a fluke.
Yeah.
But if they know exactly what's expected to them, if you keep on reiterating like, hey, this is what we need of you, hey, this is your role, this is how much power you have, then they're able to have more agency over their job and their role, and then they ended up having more control over it, and they're able to master it better.
Yeah.
But it's all through having small conversations, and then roles may change, roles may shift, and then depending on the project, a role may shift, where somebody may be a manager, they may step aside and make somebody else a project lead. Right. And so then just like, hey, what does the project lead, how much power do they have?
Right.
Like, what can they do? What can't they do? Right. And so just like reiterating with people, like, what is their role in the organization, what they're supposed to do? What is the organization even about?
Right.
Like, what is the mission and the vision of the organization?
Right.
And like having people understand that. So here at Main Character University, we're here to encourage and inspire you to be the best main character that you can be. Right. That's our mission, and our vision is that you become the best main character that you can be. And so everybody becomes the best main character that they can be. That's the vision for our organization. But some organizations, some people don't know what their mission and vision is for their organization. They're just like, I work here, I work in accounting, this is my job, right?
Go in, clock out.
Clock in, clock out. And so the facilitator of that workshop that I'm talking about, she ends up talking about JFK, the president. JFK ends up going to NASA, and this was during the space race. And he ends up asking a janitor. It's like, hey, so what do you do here? He ends up seeing a janitor walk out of a closet. And he's like, hey, what do you do here? And the janitor says, I'm helping to put a man on the moon. He's like, that's my mission here. I'm helping put a man on the moon. And so that's the mission of NASA or as an organization. Now you could say, oh, he's just a janitor. He's just cleaning the toilets. But his role helps put a man on the moon. Just by keeping the toilets clean, by keeping the area clean, he's helping put a man on the moon. That's his mission, right? And so now he's assigned himself to the mission, and he believes in what he's doing, and he's doing it to another level because of the mission that he's accomplishing, or he's helping accomplish, right? Not necessarily saying that he's putting the man on the moon, but that's what he's helping with, right? And so, like, having that type of mentality, but throughout your entire organization. So I was like, whoa, this is so cool. Like, this is amazing. Like, that's like the type of employees that I want to have, and also the type of leader I want to be is to have the people that work for me know exactly what their roles are, know what the power they have, and to take action and initiative whenever they see fit and wherever is appropriate to advance the mission and vision of the organization. So I was like, whoa, that's really cool.
Yeah. And
so that was really cool about my first conference that I went to. And me and the people that we went, like the other students, we decided to go. We had a free day, like a half a free day, so like 6 hours. We ended up going to Disney. Nice. So that was pretty cool. It was my first time at Disney World in Orlando. And I was like, if you can go, like, go. It's amazing. It's really cool.
What was your favorite park?
We only got to go to 2 because we only had 6 hours there.
Okay.
So Disney World, like the Magic Kingdom, is similar to the Disneyland, but it's more grand. It's like bigger. Yeah. So it was really cool. And then we went to Epcot, and Epcot's really cool too. I would say out of the both, I like, honestly, I can't pick a favorite because I didn't spend enough time in them to be able to tell. But I'd say probably Epcot, because Disneyland and Disney World, the Magic Kingdom, they're similar.
Yeah.
So Epcot is a little bit different. Well, it's way different. It's like a whole different park. So yeah, I'd say that. But yeah, it was really cool. It was really magical. Spent a lot of money, out of our own pockets, but it was really cool to be able to experience it. And then seeing it, again, we're going from a hospitality club, hospitality finance and technology club, and then like going to Disney and just seeing the magnitude of their operation and seeing them creating, like, they're called, I forgot what they're called, but they're called raving fans.
Yeah.
How do they create raving fans? So in marketing classes, in CRM, customer relationship management class, I just took that class this semester, customer relationship management. Right. We talk about creating not only loyal fans, but raving fans.
Yeah.
So how do you make a fan, like a raving fan? And so it's like consistency.
How do you make those fans pay those outrageous prices,
and keep coming back?
keep
coming back. And so it comes down to consistency, delivering on what you promise, meeting expectations, just like delivering on what you promise, and then like creating magical experiences. Basically, is like what it comes down to, or like at least meeting expectations. And so it's like going there, seeing like all the amount of events that they have, the amount of production that goes into it, performances is just like an amazing experience. And then just like looking at it from a business lens is like, wow, like the mountains get moved every day to make this whole operation happen, day after day after day. And so it's just like amazing to see, like, just how much technology goes behind it, but then also the manpower and the work that goes behind creating these magical experiences. So I was like, whoa, it's just like master class. I was like, whoa, absolutely amazed.
The way impressed. How you looked, like how you explained Disneyland was like the same way how I thought about. So, fun fact, I've never been at Disneyland growing up. Mm-hmm. Like I never really, like again, like I didn't really.
Me neither.
Like I never really got that. Like I was never like a Disney kid.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so I never had the opportunity to go. But when I went, like for the first time this year, it was like a whole like I kind of saw it from that lens too. It was like, man, the amount of work, the performances, the technology, even just like in California Adventure, they have like the light show where like they throw out like those water like with the cool lights, and they have like all those like pageantry shows, like again how you say like the technology, like the fact that they're able to like build this like fantasy world where people would want to come spend time, but also all this money to like stay here for a day, 2 days, 3 days, you know, a whole week, whatever, you know, on top of like the amenities that they have, like the hotels. Like how is it that they're able to like build this brand where it's like people pass this on to their kids?
Because it's magical.
Yeah.
It's magical, and it's just like, how can I recreate this for myself in my business and what I want to create in the world?
Yeah.
Right. And so it was just really cool. It was a really cool experience. Cool. So that was my first. And then there I ended up learning about GameStop Power Packs. So GameStop Power Packs are like this Pokemon.
Tell us.
Okay, so GameStop Power Packs are like gambling meets Pokemon meets, I don't know. That's pretty much it. Gambling meets Pokemon meets GameStop. And so essentially, Power Packs is a website on like GameStop Power Pack, something like that.
Yeah.
But essentially, you can go on there and you can buy Pokemon cards, baseball cards, football cards. These are the trading cards. I think there's basketball cards too. And so it's like a mystery box, but for these cards. So you can virtually. And so you press like there's $25 option, $50 option, $100 option, $500 option, and then $1,000 option. And then there's like a $2,000 option too. Yeah. So your $50 option, you click on it, and then like it'll spin through like Pokemon cards, and then like it'll stop at one, and then it'll flip it over, and it'll reveal it to you, and then it'll be either at $50, it'll be valued at $50 or more, or slightly less than $50.
Yeah.
So it'd be like $25 up to $50. So worst case scenario, you get like a $20 card, $25 card, but you can also resell them immediately. So I was like, whoa, this is really cool. And then Jose was telling me about how GameStop can buy their entire float, which means that they, based with the money that they have in the bank, they can buy their entire business. And I was like, whoa, they have $10 billion in their bank. Their business is worth $10 billion. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And it's like one of the most undervalued GameStop, one of the most undervalued stocks on the stock market. I'm like, how is this even possible? So I was like, you know what? Let me buy 100 shares right now. So I bought 100 shares of GameStop. So that was interesting. I was like, wow, did not know that. And then, like, I was like, wow, this is really cool. So I ended up investing in GameStop. So that was pretty cool. Literally the next week, I had to go to Colorado. Nice. So I had a conference out there as the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities.
Nice.
So it was a whole bunch of Latinos in Colorado, in Aurora, Colorado, at the Gaylord Hotel. Latinos and other cultures as well, but majority Latino and Hispanic. And it was a magical experience. I was like, wow, this is really cool, being able to see other people from other colleges and universities around the nation, and like just talking to people and just getting to know them and their story and everything that they're up to. It's just like really cool and very inspiring. And then we had workshops there about like discovering yourself, being your true authentic self,
right?
About like hiring, like interviewing, like different aspects of it. We had like professional Photoshop, headshots done there.
Nice.
And so it was just a really, really, really cool experience. I got to meet so many really cool people. It just had such a great time there. I got to go to Red Rocks, the amphitheater. We didn't see a show. We just went to go hike around it because it's a park too.
Yeah.
So went to go hike around the amphitheater. And so, yeah, I just had a really great time. If you're able to go to HACU, the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities, highly recommend it. definitely go. Next year is going to be in San Diego at the Gaylord there. That's the name of the hotel, the Gaylord. I'm not sure the whole name, but it's in San Diego. And there's one in Colorado as well. So it's just like a giant resort. So that was really cool. Next, moving to the next conference. Actually, there's a couple things I wanted to cover before we move on to the next one. So one of the interesting things that I did at this conference is to get out of my comfort zone. Was at the end of the conference, there's like a dance that they have, like I think it's like a 3-hour dance, which they bring out a DJ, they bring out a band, so they do like dancing. So like I have been working on like getting comfortable dancing in front of people, and so I've gotten pretty comfortable with that. Right. But something that I did to like get out of my comfort zone is that you know how when you're at like at the club or you go to a dance at like a family member's house or like wherever, and sometimes they'll like create a circle.
Yeah.
And then they'll like the person goes in the middle and stuff. So I pushed myself and I actually got to like I went into the middle of the circle, and so I had to like talk myself up the whole night. But it's just like something I want to highlight because it's even me at this point. Like there's still things that make me uncomfortable. And like even posting videos, like for some reason there's like a blockage for me, and I'll talk a little bit more about it here later, but like as I explain like what's been developing with me,
right?
But it's been like a really big fear, so I've been like fighting these fears that I have and just like stepping into them and just being courageous about it, and not saying that I'm not scared, because I am, but it's just like moving in spite of being scared, which is courage. You move in spite of the fear,
right?
And so it has been such an interesting experience. And I was telling my friend Joseph.
Shout out Joseph.
Shout out. No, I was actually talking to Joseph Morales.
Oh, shout out to Joseph too.
Shout out to Joseph Morales. Shout out to Joseph Gonzalez. But I was talking to my friend Joseph Morales, which he was my roommate there at Haku, and we're both in ASI together. So we're both in the student government together, and so I was talking to him, and I'm like, hey man, like I'm just really proud of myself for getting out of my comfort zone and just putting myself out there. That's what I'm proud of myself, and just like doing something that would make me really uncomfortable. And he told me something, an insight, and I was like, whoa, that's really cool. He said, you know, being uncomfortable is your comfort zone. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you're constantly doing things that don't make you comfortable. Like that is your comfort zone. That's where you are comfortable. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, wait, hold on. Like, he's onto something here. And it's true. It's like I constantly put myself in uncomfortable positions to continue to grow. And I feel more uncomfortable not being uncomfortable, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, bro, because, like, for the people that don't know Juan personally, this man is, like, always doing something, like, where he's, like, involved. Right? Whether if it's like public speaking, like you're doing like a public speaking engagement at a conference, like one future event, like when you're like doing a whole workshop or something like that, or you're putting yourself in videos, whether if it's like this podcast, or you're like filming like a whole series of videos of like getting people to donate to this like donation for like children's I think you did it last year, where like every single day of December you were like help engaging people. But the fact that you were even just doing stuff like that, or being involved in the ASI or anything like club related, it's like, bro, like you're always finding ways to just be involved and be in front of people, because that in itself, just putting yourself out there, like to some people is like nerve-wracking, because it's like the thought of being judged, the thought of talking to people you don't even know, or even talking to a crowd, an audience of even just 5 people, because people like that would be like, man, I'd be shaking in my boots. I'd be like going to the bathroom, like I'd piss on myself, like, you know, if that was to happen. But the fact that you own those spaces, you own those opportunities, is like, yeah, bro, like you're always doing something like that. So like, how do you go about that, bro? Like, how do you find that within yourself to always do that? Because when you point it out like that, it's like, yeah, bro, like I feel you always have that thing. You're always like, how can I, like, what can I do that's gonna top the thing that I did before?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Thank you for that. That's a really good question. So for me, honestly, it's been slowly over time, because like originally, if you look at my original self, like when I was growing up, very introverted, very to myself, extremely to myself. Like I like talking in front of people. I mentioned this story multiple times, but I get really red. Like talking in front of a group of more than five, like 5 people. Like if I didn't know them, my face would be getting red so easily. Even if I did know them, my face would be getting red so easily. But it's because I'd have like so much terror, and I didn't know how to control my own emotions. And so, in me wanting to be the best main character that I can be, but even this was before even the podcast, is me developing myself. Is like, I don't want to be scared to talk in front of people. I don't want to have that fear. I want to be able to tell people my ideas, my dreams, and just like be out there. I would see these confident people, extroverted, and I'm like, how can I be like them? Like it comes so easy to them. Like, how can that be me? And so I just watch, and from afar I would admire and be like mesmerized by the power that they would pull. And I'd be like, how can I recreate that for myself? I want that. Like God, I see what you've done for others. Look, can you please do it for me?
Right.
And so I saw that, but it's like I had to go through a whole transformation process. It wasn't overnight.
Yeah.
It wasn't overnight where I'm just walking into conferences saying like hi to everybody and just like having a great time, and like being the connector of people, being the leader of people. That wasn't always me. It wasn't. It's something that I developed slowly over time, watching other people, having role models, asking them, hey, how are you so confident? And some people, it's like, oh, this is how I was born. I just talk to people, and I'm like, that's like what it is. And then other people, they're like, I had to develop myself.
Yeah.
Like I had to start thinking in different ways. I had to
crawl before you walk.
You gotta crawl before you walk, and like, or they're like, you know what? I'm extroverted right now, but I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna veg out for the next day. Like this is taking a lot of energy out of me. Like you see, it comes naturally, but it's not so natural.
Yeah.
And so I was like, through seeing all these people like doing it, I was like, okay, well, how can I recreate this for myself? And then it's about being slightly more and more uncomfortable. So one of my go-tos is, if I go to an event, I'm gonna meet at least one person that I've never met before. That's my goal. I'm not going to, like, my goal is not to meet everybody in the room. It's not to, like have as many conversations as I can. I'm going to meet one person. That's my goal. If I meet more than that, amazing. That's great. Absolutely love it. But my goal is one person. And I'm going to leave here with the contact of somebody that I don't have the contact of. I'm going to get to know somebody that I don't know. And so if you do that, every time you go to an event, eventually, like let's say a school events, eventually you're going to know everybody in the room. Because the same people tend to go to school events. You may not know a person or two, and then you go and meet them. And so it makes it easier for you to go out and be more adventurous, to take risks. You develop that sense of belonging for yourself because you know people are there. You know people in the room, so you take more risk. Right. Like, oh, I know 10 people in this room right now. Like, let me go meet somebody new. Oh, actually, you meet that new person. Oh, you know what? That person over there, they're doing similar work. Let me introduce you to them. Let me be that connector, because I feel like you guys will be able to help each other out. Right. And so it's happened slowly over time. And it was interesting, when this trip to Colorado, I was a pack leader, so I was in charge of 4 or 5 other students. And so my role was to make sure that they accomplished the goals that they set out to accomplish during the meeting. But I also ended up becoming an impromptu, like, CSUSB leader, in which whenever, like, there's other schools that go to this conference, and a lot of the other schools would bring like a lot of students. And so what I'd find myself doing is I'd go connect with the other student leaders. Like, let's say I was representing CSUSB, I'd go and find the other student leaders that represented the other colleges, and then I would bring both groups together. Or I'd help bring both two groups together, because I also needed the help of the other leader to get everybody on board. But then we ended up like going to downtown Denver, walking around downtown Denver, going bowling with different schools, just getting to know different schools. And it all came down to me just going up and just talking to people like, hey, what school are you guys from? But I also had the people that I was with, and so they gave me confidence to go out and go outside of my comfort zone per se, and then make friends with other schools. And then all of a sudden we're like 2 or 3 schools deep, just like walking down downtown Denver, just having a great time.
That's so cool. That's so cool, man.
But yeah, it happened slowly over time, but it's just like an interesting thing. that is just like constantly. And so whenever Joseph told me, hey man, you're just comfortable being uncomfortable, that is your comfort zone, I was mind blown. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Because it's true. It's true. That is my comfort zone at this point, is getting uncomfortable. And when I haven't been uncomfortable in a while, I get uncomfortable from that. Like, I get really uncomfortable, and like, I need to do something to get out of my comfort zone. There's like a place where I need to expand, where I need to create, where I need to be myself. And that's like where it's come to this video creation, this podcast creation that we're creating, and putting myself out there too. I could talk in front of 200 people relatively easily. Like, I still get a little nervous to begin, but once I start talking, I'm going. Like, I'm fine. But like, getting in front of the camera and putting out a YouTube video or putting out a video just like on my Instagram, like, that is terrifying, or was terrifying for me. And I was like, I need to overcome this fear. Enough of this. Like, I need to put my message out there. I need more people to listen to me and what I have to say, my vision for the world and what I want to create. So I need to get over this fear. I need to, in order for me to accomplish what I'm here to accomplish on this planet, on this earth, I need to get out of my comfort zone, and I need to be able to say what I want to say freely. And I find it very interesting that, you do the WWE content, and so that's like the most freeing aspect, because like, for me, that's like the scariest aspect. But if you can do the scariest aspect, then why can't I talk about my visions, my goals, and my dreams, about helping humanity, helping people become the best main character that they can be? Why am I so terrified about that? Like, why? And so I was at this my last conference, the Reality Revolution, with Brian Scott. And so that conference, I was sitting there one day. I had made this friend, my friend Sean from Australia.
Shout
out to Sean. So I met my friend Sean, and it was like the second day, it was the first day. It was the end of the day, and we were waiting to listen because Brian Scott had put out an album, and so he wanted to like do like a album listening party for the end of the day. So we were like, we're gonna go listen to his album listening party. But it was like 2 hours in between, like the last meditation and then the album listening party. And so in those 2 hours, we go out, grab something to eat, and then we come back. And I'm walking. Sean is like terrified of public speaking, and so I'm like, listen, like, you're gonna sit on the stage. Nobody was in the room. It was just like me and Sean at this point in the room. Everybody had gone to like go eat or like do stuff.
Right.
And so it's just me and Sean in the room, and we're just having this conversation, and I'm like coaching him through how to speak in public and like the mentality behind it. And so I'm explaining to him, a lot of the time, the reason that people are scared of public speaking is because if you go back in time to your ancestors, whenever you got brought in front of people to speak in public, is because you're getting judged by the tribe. So you're either going to get killed or exiled for something that you did. And so it was a really bad spot to be in. And so you get nervous based off of what your ancestors, the DNA that your ancestors are giving you. So kind of a stress response, a natural stress response based off of what has previously happened in previous generations. So it gets stuck in the DNA. So it does that in order to help you survive into the future. And so, like, you have that fear and it builds up inside of you, but it's because you're scared that the people are going to judge you and they're going to exile you or they're going to kill you.
Right.
And so that you still have that same fear, but that we're no longer living in those times. So that fear is no longer a real thing. But once you understand this, you can start seeing that as that fear, and it's like, okay, that's what's coming up. I can turn down the volume of that. Right. And so I'm explaining that to him, and then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, that's the fear I have about speaking in public on camera in front of people. And like I could do it, I conceptualized it for myself in the public speaking setting, but I hadn't conceptualized it in front of the social media aspect, because the social media aspect, if you think about it, is like the town square. It's like you're in the middle of town. Hey guys, this is what I'm about. This is what I do. This, believe in me, or whatever it is, believe in my cause. Like, that's what you're doing. And then people can comment, your cause sucks. Like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, X, Y, and Z. And so,
go ahead.
And so, it's...
The crazy thing when you make that point is, like, in person, you can see who you're talking to. Online,
you can't.
Sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's like faceless, like people or like whatever. But it's like you don't know who's on that other side of that keyboard.
You don't. And then the comment stays there forever. So if somebody puts a comment up It's not like whenever you're talking to somebody, they tell you something, like maybe they say something offensive, but they walk away, and that's it. Like, you never hear it again.
Yeah.
But like, if that comment's there, you're like constantly thinking, oh, that comment's there.
Yeah.
Like, it's there, like, and if it's like about your self-worth, like attacking you as a character. If you don't believe in yourself, like, you could falter on that. Like, that can really affect your mental health and like how you present yourself to the world, or maybe like just completely discourage you from ever posting again. So I hadn't conceptualized it that way, and now like I'm conceptualizing it that way, and I'm like, wow, like honestly, I need to continue to put myself out there and put my messaging out there, because if not, like kind of how we spoke about earlier, if nobody knows what you're about, if nobody knows what your mission is, how they're supposed to help you with your mission?
Because what if there's people on that other side that see things the way you see it, or maybe like supportive of you, but if you don't try your luck at it, if you don't give it your best go, your best shot, you don't tell, like a closed mouth doesn't get fed, right? So if you can't share and put your spotlight on yourself, who else is going to give you that spotlight? No one.
Nobody. And you have to put that spotlight on yourself. And I've been doing it here, out here in the real world.
Yeah.
But doing it online, putting a bigger spotlight on myself, has been something that I've been terrified about. And so, but now it's like, I need to let go of that fear. I need to move in spite of that fear. I need to have the courage to keep going and to put videos out, because I'm going to help a lot of people in doing so. And I'm going to go into my vision that I had in the conference, the last conference. But first, I'm going to go into El Salvador.
Nice.
So
The
motherland. So my dad, I was at the conference at Haku, and my dad, he spent a month in El Salvador on vacation. And so while he's there, he was like, actually, there's some land here that I want you and your sisters to inherit. But we need to get the paperwork done now. Like, either one of your sisters can come down, or like all you guys come down, and then we get it done, just to knock it out of the way. And so I was like, it was expensive. It was like $1,000 to get down there for the tickets. And I was like, should I go? I was like, nah. I didn't want to go. But then I was like, you know what? If my dad is going to inherit me a piece of land, like, I want him to show me that piece of land before he passes.
Yeah.
You know, like, I want him to be like, hey, this is the land that I have set aside for you. Like, this is like what it means to me. This is why it's important, X, Y, and Z. So I was like, okay, that $1,000, it might be a lot right now. In the future, it won't be a lot for us. Even in the very near future, it won't be a lot. But like for like right now, or previously, it was a lot of money. And so I was like thinking about it, but then I was like, you know what? That $1,000 is gonna, like, I will pay that amount many times over just to have the opportunity of my dad showing me what he's gonna inherit me or give it to me. And so
can you explain like why it won't be like a lot of money like in the future?
So
so here in the U.S., like usually they say like property goes up like with the time because they don't make like more of it. Mm-hmm. But like, how come it's like that in El Salvador?
No, I don't mean it in that sense. I mean it in the sense of the opportunity cost.
Oh, I see.
So how much would I pay to go back in time to spend like whatever time it was a week with my dad in El Salvador so that he could show me that? Like, I would pay everything, right?
Yeah. Oh,
like, you know, like, especially one day whenever he passes, like, like
you won't get that time back.
I won't get that time back.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not going to come back. And so right now, although it is a lot, in the future, like, if I don't go, that cost is going to be a lot higher.
Yeah. You would spend like $50,000, like 10x that. Like,
easily. I would just throw it because it's like, I got it. And like,
yeah,
I'm not going to get that time back. Right. And so I was like, you know what? This is something that I need to do. And so talked to my sisters, and they're like all in agreement. And so we decided to go together. And so we all left. I flew out of LAX. They flew out of ATL, Atlanta, because that's where they live. And so we flew to El Salvador. We all spent a week down there. The majority of it was going to lawyers, from lawyers' offices to the city hall to the lawyer's office to the like government's office, like different government offices, just to like
the suits and like the offices and paperwork. And
just getting paperwork done and just talking to lawyers. And it's like you just gotta go through the whole process. You gotta tick all the boxes to do the paperwork that we need to get done. We got it all done. We're just going to El Salvador just for the lawyer aspect, but I end up having such a great time. I end up spending time with my aunts and my uncles, and I ended up spending time with one of my uncles. he, like, I never talked to him before because he used to be, like, really dedicated to his business.
Yeah.
He's an entrepreneur down there.
Nice.
And so he's really dedicated to his business. And so, like, last time I went 13 years ago, he was, like, completely consumed in his business. And so he had no time for us, or, like, just kind of, like, I mean, he came around, like, one time, but he was, like, dedicated to his business. So, like, and he is a big business, so, like, he needs the time for it. But now he's gotten to an age where he's like, you know what? Like, I need to spend more time with my family. That's what's important to me now. Like, I've made my money, and I'm still going to keep making money, and that's important too. But I'm going to, I need to spend more time with my family. So, like, he's like, I actually had a real conversation with my uncle for the first time in my life.
Wow.
Because I've only been to El Salvador twice. And before, when I was younger.
How did it go?
It went great. Like, it was such a great conversation. I got so much game from him. I got so much game, just, like, from a business owner's perspective.
What did you learn, both personally and business-wise? Like, what's been, like, the biggest thing that you took away from that whole interaction?
So, my uncle tells me a story about him growing up and listening to my grandpa. So, my grandpa has been an entrepreneur pretty much his whole life. And my uncle thought that my grandpa didn't know anything about business because my grandpa doesn't even have a kindergarten education. So he said, whatever grandpa knows, and it's his dad. Yeah. Like, whatever my dad knows, doesn't matter because he hasn't studied. It's not important. But what he ends up realizing throughout time is that actually my dad knows more than a lot of the people that have studied in university. Because he's got the experience, he's got skills, and he's got knowledge that they don't have.
Or, like, the network, too.
The network, the knowledge of how to operate things. Yeah. And so, like, he may not have a formal education, but he has a street education in which he learned all these things. Like, he learned about psychology and about how to interact with people. Now, he may not be able to call them the technical terms of what they are, but he knows how to deal with them. Yeah. And he knows how to respond with them, and he knows how to get the deal done.
Nice.
And so...
That's amazing.
It is amazing. And so it's, like, really powerful stuff. But my uncle thinking, oh, my dad, he doesn't, like, my grandpa, like, my uncle's dad, like, he doesn't know anything. Like, he doesn't even have an education. Like, what could he know? But later on, he figures out, actually, he knows more than the people that are studying in university just based off of the life experience that he has. Yeah. And instead of me writing my dad off, like, who cares what he says, let me sit down and listen to what he has to say. Because he's already walked the road that I'm walking. And let me just listen to what he has to say, because this man knows what he's talking about. Like, every time I do go against what he says, things don't go right. Whenever I do exactly what he says, things go right. Right? And so, like, let me start listening to him. So that was, like, one of the big takeaways I got from him. Another takeaway that I got from my uncle was that there's a lot of things that just don't matter in this life.
Talk to us. What does that mean?
Like, there's just a lot of things that just don't matter. Like, that they don't. Like, we put a lot of importance to them, but at the end of the day, they don't matter. Like, the business, right? The business is important. Making money is important.
Right.
But at the end of the day, what's more important, your business or your family? And so that's kind of like one of the decisions that he had to come across.
Yeah.
Like, again, I was telling you, like, when I went 13 years ago, he was super committed to his business.
Right.
Wasn't very committed to his family.
Yeah.
And so his family relationship started to suffer significantly. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, I need to make a decision. What's more important to me?
Right.
Is it my family or is it my business?
Yeah.
And so he's like, all right, well, actually, my family is more important. I've been putting all my energy toward my business, but I'm saying my family is more important. It's time for me to redirect what's important in my life.
That's deep, man, because it's true. Like, I always tell, like, my closest friends, especially when they kind of, like, they're on the brink of making decisions like that, where it's like, I want to do this, but I have to, like, pick one or the other. It's like, look, man, you can have anything, but you can't have everything. If you make one decision, that means you have to sacrifice something. It either means money or time, things like that. You know, it's either money or time that you're usually, like, sacrificing, because it's like, if you're gonna, like, put all your focus onto one thing, you have to sacrifice the opportunity cost of, like, another thing. Could be business, you know, personal stuff, what have you, things of that nature. So but the thing is that you have to like facilitate what season are you in. Am I able to do it? Am I able to live with that decision? Because it's all relative. There's no right or wrong. It's just what's right for you.
What's right for you in that time.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's deep, man, because it's like I feel like that's something common that you hear from older people. Because as young people, like when we're young, it's like, oh man, like we have the whole time advantage like on our side. Like we have so much time to think about. We don't have to think about, like there's so much risk that we are able to take about. But then like when you're on the other side of life, where it's like now you have time working against you, it's like, man, now you don't think about money, because now it's like over time you accumulate that money. You like typically on paper people make more money when they're older, and so like when people have the money, they realize like, man, like I already have the money. It's not so much the money, it's the relationships, it's the people in my life. Like who am I with? Like what good is to have this money if I don't spend time with, like if I don't have like people to spend it with. My daddy would always tell me, it's like I'd rather have 10 people or 1 million friends than $1 million, because it's like, think about the quality of your life that you would have by having people that care about you, that truly you spend memories with. Because like sometimes we measure life based off of like the value that someone makes, like in regards to like a dollar amount. But I told you this, there's a lot of people that are financially wealthy but spiritually broke, spiritually poor, or socially poor, or mentally poor, what have you, right? And so it's a really good perspective to have of like having those moments of like real rethinking of like, man, what season am I in and what is important right now, and can I live with those decisions? Because sometimes people don't really ask themselves that, and that could lead to regret. Like, man, like I spent so much time like building a business, but I don't really have a family, or like I never really got time to spend with my kids, or like things like that. Or the other way around is like I spent so much time like helping other people, but I never helped myself.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man, that you learned that from your uncle.
Yeah, it's like, I never had a conversation with him before, like a real conversation.
Yeah.
So like being able to have those real conversations was like priceless. And then with my grandpa, like one of the conversations I had with him was on, and it's like, we call it sense of belonging here. Of course, he doesn't have that word, but he's like, what I love? I was like, what do you love, Grandpa? Because he has a ranch. And
right.
So he's got like, I think over 100 head of cattle on his ranch. He's like, I like going to the market, because he goes and buys and sells cows all the time.
Nice.
He's like, I like going to the market, and everybody tells me hi. How are you doing? Hello. Like they come and say hi to me. They come and shake my hand, and like, how are you doing? And like, like I have that. He didn't call it this, but he's like, I got that sense of belonging.
Community.
I have that community. Like that's what I love. And so I was like thinking about it. I'm like, that's funny. It's like, that's kind of what I've been creating for myself. I've been creating it on the school aspect.
Yeah.
But now it's like, how do I create that in the real world? Right? Because it's like eventually, like I'm going to graduate in the spring. Like, I don't want my whole identity being tied to being a college student. And it's like, how do I create that sense of belonging outside of campus? Right? And so, I feel like that's kind of like what this is about. So I was like, all of a sudden, we're going to have fans. And our fans are going to come and say, what's up? How you doing? Shake our hands.
Yeah.
Hey, let's take a picture. All right, cool. And like it's going to establish a sense of belonging for us on the planet, on the earth, and like whatever we're at.
Yeah. Like
we're going to go to an event. Oh, what's up, Brian Storm? What's going on, Brian Storm? Nice to see you. Oh my gosh. Let's take a picture. Oh, number one, So like that's going to happen, and that's going to be beautiful. It's going to be really great.
Yeah.
But it's like we have to develop that for ourselves, and he's developed that for himself, where in the way that he's known how to do it, which is through the ranching, because that's what he's done his whole life. And so he thoroughly enjoys it. So I just had some really great conversations with my grandpa too. And so like all of this stuff, like I would pay so much money for, like in the future, like who cares, right? Like Like, at the end of the day, like, what's the more important, conversation with your grandpa or $1,000, right? And I've only talked to my grandpa in person 2 times.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the last time that I went and when I was 15 and then now. So I was like, what's more important? And I think that's more important to me in the season that I'm in right now. And then it's just, like, really interesting. And then seeing where my parents came from, like, going back to where they grew up at, and just, like, the motivation of, like, not wanting to go back to those places or being in the poverty that they grew up in. My mom not so much, because my grandpa did well for himself from very young. But my dad more so, he came from a place of extreme poverty. And so just like getting motivated from that, just like my dad came from essentially nothing, and then now, like, he owns his own home, he owns his own business out in Georgia, and it's, like, really cool and really motivational to see. Is like, and how can I not, like, strive to do that and better, right, for myself? And I got all this education and I got everything going for me. Why wouldn't I swing for the fence and swing for the stars, right? Because even if you miss, you're going to be amongst them, right? So I was like, I'm swinging for the stars, and so, like, I just got that motivation from there. But one night I couldn't sleep. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I put on this Brian Scott podcast. I've been listening to him for like a year. He does a lot of meditations and hypnosis on wealth creation, on making money, wealth activations. And so he's some very powerful meditations, and I'm like, wow, this is really powerful. And so but I've been listening to him off and on. I'll put him on some nights not. But I couldn't sleep, and I was like, you know what, let me put on a meditation. So I put one on, and then, like, 30 minutes into the meditation, he's like, I have an event happening in Los Angeles. And I'm like, instantly, I'm like, I gotta go. Like, I don't even, like, I follow Brian. Like, I watch his videos, but I don't watch them all the time. And it's just, like, something, like, I do every so often. But I never had, like, that call to just, like, go to, like, an event. And so I'm like, I didn't even know about this. Oh, it's gonna happen next week. And it costs a lot of money to go. Right. And it's gonna happen in the middle of LA. And I'm currently in one of the most stressful seasons of my college career. I don't like driving in LA. I don't like it. I won't. Like, I will, like, if something's happening in LA, I'll just be like, nope. Like, unless my girlfriend's coming with me, because, like, she's an LA driver, so she knows how to drive in LA very comfortably. Unless she's coming with me, like, I'm not going. Like, I'm like, no chance. And so, like, the cost was big. Like, I'm in one of the busiest seasons of my life up until this point, as far as, like, college and, like, putting in work. And then, like, I just got back from 2 conferences. Like, I'm in El Salvador right now. Yeah. Like, I had so many reasons to say no. Yeah. And my mind is like, you gotta go. And I was like, let me think it over. So I think it over. The next day, our podcast drops. So our first podcast drops. It was your episode. And I listened to the podcast. And again, like, I'm messaging people. I'm like, hey, listen to our podcast. I'm like reaching out to all my friend groups. I'm like letting them know, like, hey, listen to our podcast. And I listened to it. And, like, once I finished listening to it, it's like, you gotta go. You gotta go to this conference, to Brian Scott's conference. And I was like, all right. So I ended up buying the ticket. I ended up going. And then it was just, like, a fantastic, phenomenal experience. It was absolutely beautiful, and I think it's definitely, like, shaped, like, the future and, like, where I'm moving towards. And so during the conference, we do a lot of meditations. Well, it's pretty much like the meditations that he does on YouTube, but in person. And then, but it's different because you have, like, everybody in a group, and, like, that energy is just, like, so much more intense. And then we do 3 meditations a day, and it's a 3-day conference. So every day is, like, 3 meditations, each meditation being, like, an hour to an hour and a half. Dang. And so I'd be like, doing, like, 1 meditation, and then, like, a 2-hour break, and then do another meditation, and do a 2-hour break, and then, like, another meditation.
Ever, like, sleep, like, during the meditation?
Yeah. But it's okay because your subconscious mind, like, records everything. So it's like, it's not necessarily a bad thing that you fall asleep. Okay. So it was really interesting. And so, like, I started, one thing that he does is, like he's always discovering how to manifest, like, your best life, and, like, manifestation. That's kind of like his whole thing. Yeah. And so one thing that he came up with, or, like, that came to him, is manifestation through remembering through your future self. Because through quantum physics, you end up learning that everything's happening all at the same time. Time is relevant only to us, that we're moving through it in a perpendicular time. But everything is constantly happening here and now.
Right.
It's like the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
Similar to that. So if everything that's happened has already happened and we're just living through it, then you can call on, just like you can call on your past self memory, you can also call on your future self memory. So interesting concept. Never heard about it before, but I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. So we ended up doing one of those meditations, and then it was like remembering, like what's the future like? Like, what does the future look like for you? And so what I ended up seeing in one of the visions I had was a healing city, which previously me and my girlfriend, we have come up with this concept of like our life goal is to create a healing clinic, which is a clinic in which you have a campus and everything is there. So you have acupuncture, you have nutrition, you have chiropractor, you have massage therapy, you have yoga, you have a gym, you have PT, OT, primary care doctors, like everything in one centralized location. And the reason we wanted to create this is because whenever I got sick, I had to go to all these different locations all across town to get treated.
Right.
And then like a pharmacy somewhere else, like I'd have to go all over town, and it's just like takes a long time. Yeah, and it's very stressful. And my girlfriend also worked in healthcare, and so she would see it from the patient perspective of her patients having to go all to different doctors for different reasons, and like just the hassle that it is.
Yeah.
And so we had this concept of this healing clinic and like developing this healing clinic, and we're gonna do it. But it's also what was shown to me is like you're not thinking big enough. You need to think even bigger. And it's like the healing city, where the city, and it's not like one healing city, it's like every city is a healing city, is like integrated into the fabric of the city.
It reminds me of like Pokemon, like where you have like a certain, like in every like different region that you go to, there's like a center for your Pokemon where like you like heal them from like all the battles that you go out, like as you're like traveling to all the different gyms and regions and areas. There's always like an area where like you go to like recharge and replenish like the or sometimes upgrade like the Pokemon and stuff like that. It kind of reminds me of that idea of like kind of like that area of like that center of wellness, like in a video game, but obviously like in real life, but just connecting the dots. Like it kind of reminds me of like that one area of like the map, like hey, you need to like re-up like on your levels or like your power or like what have you. Go to this area. Go to like that area. Like,
exactly. That's really cool. That's a really cool concept. It's very similar to that, essentially. Very similar to that. And so I've had this vision for a while since like creating this healing place, but then it's like that's not big enough. You need to think even bigger. Healing cities. And I was like, whoa, this is interesting. This is an interesting concept.
A city?
A city. Healing city. Like healing cities that heal themselves.
What does that look like?
Like, the rendering that I saw in my mind, now that I think about it, is more like a 3D rendering of what it looks like in concept.
Okay.
But to give you a concept of what it looks like, it's... Now, here's just a very tiny aspect of it.
Okay.
Just to give you just a tiny glimpse. So, a couple years ago or a year ago, my girlfriend's cousin passed away in a car accident.
Okay.
And rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
So the next day or a couple days after, they end up closing the freeway where she passed away at.
Oh.
And where they closed the freeway, they made it. They didn't close it because she passed away. They just closed it because they had something planned there.
Right.
So they closed down the whole freeway. And then people could go there and just like walk, ride their scooters, ride their electric bikes, ride their bikes. And it was like a really cool concept. And they've only done it twice in Los Angeles. They've only done it twice ever, and this was the second time that they did it. And so we ended up going to that event because we wanted to leave flowers in the spot where she passed away.
Right.
And like a picture to commemorate her and to remember her. And so we end up Like it was just a really cool event where like families came together and they're just like talking and they're just like walking down the street and just like it's just everybody's having a great time.
Right.
Think about like Disneyland, but there's no Disney. It's just people walking in the street, like Disneyland Main Street.
Yeah.
Like just people always walking and just like doing that, but also scooters and bikes and stuff. And so I was like, wow, this is really pretty. So think about that concept on a freeway, but inside cities where whole neighborhoods get blocked off and where people can go out and walk in their street. And neighbors can go talk to neighbors. You have block parties. There's more communion. There's a sense of belonging in your community. And so, like where this starts off at, like the healing cities, is where cities start to block off on certain days or certain occasions where they'll block off certain streets so that people can go out and walk on the street. Think about like a flea market or the farmers markets that we have here. Like you could also have like a farmers market, but there. Like people just walking down the street, walking around their neighborhood. People set up their stands, their food stands, their food carts, their food trucks. And people are just walking around, riding scooters, and just having a good time.
Yeah.
But then doing that, but in the whole city. And where like just the main streets are accessible to cars.
Right.
Now, this is a concept, and I know like there's going to be some time before we get there. And there's a lot of things that need to happen before we get there. But that's the vision, that's the future. Where the cities are healing within themselves. Is not, you have to go somewhere to get healed. You get healed at home.
That's a cool idea, dude. That's a cool idea.
It's like bringing community together. It's because like, how do we bring community back together? How do we make the world a fun place again, right? Because it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It is fun. It's a fun place. But it's fun in certain locations, in certain areas, at certain times.
Yeah.
How do you make it so that it's fun all the time, everywhere? Like, it's a good time. And that's why we have a lot of addiction now. It's like, when you think about the lab rat experiment. So there's a lab rat experiment where there's a lab rat inside of a... they put a lab rat inside of a cage. And then they give them cocaine. And so, like, what cocaine in a water bottle? So, like, they go and they drink the cocaine in liquid form, and then they have, like, regular water, and then they got cocaine water. Well, this rat or mouse will constantly go and hit the cocaine. Yeah. But if you put this mouse in a bigger environment, more natural environment, and you put the cocaine, the same mouse, you put the cocaine tap in that natural environment, the mouse won't go touch the cocaine. Because it will naturally be enjoying its environment, so it doesn't need the cocaine. The reason why it uses cocaine in the lab environment is because it's stuck in a cage with nothing to do, and it's going to go hit that dopamine button. Whereas when they're in the natural location, dopamine is naturally getting released. They don't need the cocaine.
Yeah.
And so when you think about SSRIs, you think about all these mental health medications, like what if people didn't need them because they have that community around them to support them? And where they have that sense of belonging, where everybody's telling them, hi, how's it going? Nice to see you again.
Yeah. No, that's real. And I think, like, how you talk about, like, you and your experiences of, like, you going to the motherland. Dude, whenever you have a chance, like, if you come from, like, an ethnic background where, like, let's say, like, you have, like, parents from China or, like, you know, parents from, like, the Philippines or India or just, like, anything that has, like, a cultural background. Like, for me, my parents were, like, Mexico, right? And in Mexico, it's always that home feeling where, like, even if you weren't born or raised there, it's just that home-like community feeling where it's like, hey, everybody knows each other. Hey, ¿qué pasa, compa Felipe? Oye, Pachuca, ¿qué tal? You know, like, that commemorative, like, you know, that hello, like, saying hello to your neighbor, like, feeling. Kind of like how we used to have, like, in the 50s. We used to have that here, like, in the 50s. But it's like, man, like, how you're right. Like, when someone feels like they belong somewhere, of course they're not going to want to go and dabble in onto those things because it's like they have things to look forward to. That's why, like, the rise of, like, people feeling anxious or, like, depressed is because they don't have anything to look forward to. They are by themselves. They spend so much time by themselves that they really don't have people to, like, again, support them. And I think Jose Chica said, you know, he told me this. I don't know the study, but he said that there's studies where people that feel like they are in an environment where they feel supported or, like, welcome, typically then tend to do perform better when it comes to like all things like in different aspects of life, you know, whether if it's like education or even just personal, because it's like that camaraderie is there, that socialization is there, despite people saying like categorizing themselves of all these different labels, like I'm extrovert, I'm introvert. Doesn't matter. We're social creatures at the end of the day. We're humans, are social creatures, and it's like when you isolate yourself, the worst punishment you can do to somebody is give them isolation. Yep. You know, because it breaks them down from like a human level of like, man, they don't even like, they're just trapped within just their thoughts. They don't even know what it's like to be human, because it's like that social learning from like other people, or like just having that connection aspect. You lose that connective piece, and so you just become like dull. Like you just become like, man, like lost in the sauce in that kind of way. And so whenever you do go to these places, it's like, it may not be like well-off places, but it's like there's something rich in like just that social aspect. It's like they may not make up for it in the wealth aspect, but in the social wealth, it's there.
It's there, and it's a big difference. You feel so at home. You feel so at home, and it's just like I always wondered, what is like, my parents, they went through childhoods that were worse than mine.
Right.
And I'm like, how were they able to get through those childhoods? And when I think about it, and I think long and hard about it, it's because they had community.
Yeah.
They had other people going through the exact same struggles that they were.
Exactly.
And they would talk about it, and they'd have fun with it, right? But whereas here in the United States, you may be going through a struggle, and especially like my parents, they're very religious, so they were very... they sheltered us a lot, so they wouldn't allow us to go out with friends and stuff. And so they would, let's see, where was I going with this point?
They would shelter you and prohibit you from like experiencing the world.
They prohibit me from experiencing the world.
Making
making connections. And so I grew up with a lot of anxiety and maybe even depression at certain times, but it's because I didn't have friends. I felt so lonely.
You didn't feel seen?
I didn't feel seen, or like at least not at home. I mean, they would talk to me, they would listen to me, but it's like I wanted friends so bad.
Yeah.
And like to go hang out with them after school.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that. And so it's like I had a lot of anxiousness within myself, but it's like, how can we create that for everybody else and make it a cool thing? Make it so that nobody has to think about it. It's just like, oh, we just all hang out. We just all go out onto the street on Friday nights, and we just go out for a walk, and it's just something that we do as a community, or we do it every other day, or we do it every day, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do we create it? How do we create a world that we want to live in, right? Because we can easily create a world that we don't want to live in without intention and without vision, but with intention and with vision, we can create a world that we want to live in and a world that we're proud of, right? Just because our generation was handed a broken system doesn't mean that we have to continue perpetuating that system into the future, into forever. No, we can change it. We can change it and direct it and make it whatever it is that we want to make it, make the future that we want to make for ourselves. Just like we can create the character that we want to make for ourselves, we can also create the world that we want to make for ourselves.
Be that change you wish to see in the world.
Be that change you want to see in the world, exactly. And if you want to see your world change, you have to change, right? That's a big perspective. I think we talked about it on my podcast that I had to learn. It's like, in order for me to change the world, I had to change my world. I had to change myself, how I thought, my perspectives. I had to change and become a better version of myself in order for my world to change. Now my world is changing every day and to the better every time I interact with somebody. Every time like I make their day a little bit better, and then I see them progressing and them getting better. And I'm like, this is really cool. Like, I'm really enjoying this. Like, I really enjoy watching other people like get better and improve their lives. And it's like, wow, that's really cool. And it's through a lot of times it's through their own self-effort, but it's also through seeing me and everything that I'm doing. And then they ask me like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you give a public speech? And then I break it down for them and I make it simple for them. And then like I see them do it and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. But if I would have never developed myself, I wouldn't be able to develop them. And make their lives better and make them easier, or be just a supportive person, or just give them a positive message for that day. Sometimes I run into people and they're just like all sad and stuff, and I tell them like, hey, like, you know, how about you think about your problem instead of thinking it like this? How about you think about it like this?
Yeah.
And how you're like, it's really helping you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's only making you stronger. What if instead of you saying, hey, this is beating me up and breaking me down, hey, this is breaking me down, but it's building me up stronger, right? So just like shifting some words. And then they're like, oh, yeah, that's a good one. And then like when people repeat to me my teachings, I'm like, oh, snap, like this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like what I taught them, I'm like, oh, snap. Like maybe I'm feeling down and then somebody comes in and like gives me a pep talk. And I'm like, oh, man, that's really nice. I really appreciate that. Yeah. But it all comes down to me improving myself in my world, and then people around me improving themselves in their world. And so that's how we change the world, is by changing ourselves. And if we can't, maybe we can't change the entire world, but we can change our world and everybody in it.
Exactly. Because you are the light.
You are the light.
You are the light. And sometimes people need to be like, they need an extra spark in their light. Sometimes people need to see like there's even light to begin with, because there's people that are here suffering in some way, shape, or form. But it's like, hey man, you know, we're all human at the end of the day. We're all going through this big game of life. And it's like, it's okay, man. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay there. And I'm with you, man. Because sometimes people just need to feel like, hey, like, it's okay, but I'm in the fight with you.
Exactly.
I'm in the fight with you. That's cool, man.
It's okay to not be okay.
It's not okay to stay there.
But it's not okay to stay there. And it might take you a long time to get out of there, and that's okay. But you're striving out of it. And getting yourself out of it.
Yeah.
Right? And you're going to be proud of yourself for doing it.
Yeah.
Right? If I look back at my life and when I had that turning point of like when I got sick and I was throwing up every day and I was in traffic and I was breaking down, and like that's God's first sign. God, please give me a sign. Like, should I keep on living or should I just give up right now? And he gave me my sign through the song, Don't You Worry Child by Swedish House Mafia. And like once I got my sign, I was like, all right, cool, let's go. Like we're gonna make this. Like, I don't know what plan heaven has for me. I don't know, but I'm gonna go fulfill it. Like, I don't know what plan they have for me, but I'm going to go do my best. I'm going to go become the best main character that I can be.
Yeah.
And at that time, like, none of this was in my vision at all, but it just came up out of it, right? And now, like how many people am I going to be able to help? Because I helped myself. I bettered my world. And now I can make other people's worlds better. And eventually, my vision of these healing cities is going to come into fruition because I got out of my comfort zone and came and talked about it.
Yeah. You spoke it out into the universe.
Spoke it out into the universe. People are going to attach themselves to it, and then we're going to bring it into fruition. Because everything that you see on this planet, somebody thought of it.
Yeah.
It was all an idea. Government, every single thing was all an idea at one point.
Yeah.
And then people brought it down to earth and made it happen. Why can't we make a society that we're proud of? Why can't we do that? like, what if we created the society that we wanted? What if we created a beautiful society which nobody has to want or need? Like, what if we become the best main character that we can be? What if we become the best society that we can be? Like, what if? And I think that's a powerful question. And I think that's something to strive for.
Yeah.
And that's something to make purpose out of a life, right? It's like, because at the end of the day, like, what are you living for? Like, what's important to you? And that changes every day.
Yeah.
But what are things that we as a society can agree on that are important to us?
Right.
And everybody is easy to like complain, but how about we start fixing? And fixing, not only complain, because it's one thing to complain, and it's important to like let things be known, but also to put action behind it.
Yeah.
To, hey, like, what are we gonna do? What are the solutions? Okay, complaining is one thing, but also what are solutions that you can bring to the forefront?
Yeah.
Right? How can you fix the problem? Don't just talk about the problem. How can you help fix it? Right? And some problems are really big that one person won't be able to fix.
Yeah.
But you can do what you can, right? So like the homelessness problem, like not one person is going to be able to fix the homelessness problem, but one person can go out and help give out food for a day.
Yeah.
Right? Go out to the food pantries and give out food for a day. And so you put your part and you help a little bit. And if you continue that and everybody else continues that, that's going to compound. And all of a sudden, we've created the world that we wanted to create.
Exactly. It all starts from one decision to be that change. Be that change you wish to see in the world. Because it every idea started small. Every idea started with one single step. The journey of 1,000 miles started with a single step. But as long as you continue to make that step, other people will join you along that journey. So imagine how many people you could have along in that journey if you just take that one step. Because again, kind of like similar to what I was saying, if I didn't think this journey of content creation is possible, of being like a full-time media person, content creator, by seeing other people already taking that step, it wouldn't have led me to seeing like, whoa, this is possible. I can do it too. And I'm on that journey with them. And I'm also bringing other people with me as well. Like, imagine, like, sometimes it's like we underestimate the impact that we make on an individual level, but we don't think about like, man, there might be someone younger than me or someone older than me, like, that I may not know because of, you know, it probably goes through their head, like it doesn't get acknowledged or whatever. But it's like the people in our circle of influence, they see us doing something that they don't see them themselves, but because they know us, like our friends, family, they're like, man, like, if you could do it, I could do it too. So it's like, man, like, it breeds, like, you know, it breeds that change. It breeds that conversation of like, man, Ernie did it. Ernie did it too. I can do it.
Yeah.
And now it's like, because I know Ernie, I'm going to reach out to him.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, man, how'd you do it? You know, man, like, it was crazy. I fell forward, you know, I fell like this. Like, and now you have, like, as you climb in those different avenues and journeys of your life, whether if it's like on a personal level, business level, education level, different avenues, you can always learn from someone. And they could teach you and you can guide them, because at first, like, everybody starts small. Everybody starts the same. So now it's like the student becomes a master kind of thing, where now it's like you looked up to somebody, and then like pretty soon, like as you go along your journey, then you become the master and you to someone else, you know. And so the cycle repeats. And so you're building that positive aspect of like, man, like you're fostering growth because you're helping people in that way. So it's like sometimes, man, that person that you might have impacted, I saw a story where it's like, it was this soccer player from this like English club. He was like, man, I had this one PE teacher who encouraged me to be a soccer player. Like, he encouraged me. Like, had it not been for him, I think it was like an English teacher. I don't even think it was a PE teacher, but it was something along the lines of like, this man like encouraged me like to pursue my dream of being a pro football player. And even though like the chances of like becoming like a professional like soccer player athlete is like slim to none, he still did it. And he actually had the chance, like in one of his games, I think it was like playing for Arsenal or something like that, like some like club like that. But he had a chance to reconnect with his teacher in England, and he was bawling, man. He's like, you have no idea how much like inspiration you like gave me. Even though it's like face value is like 99% of the chance, it's like it's impossible because it's like it's so competitive or whatever. Nah, dude, like that impact that teacher made, like just that belief, like just believing in him and encouraging him alone, that meant to him, because that's like, look where that got him. That brought him up to the big leagues. So it's like, I think sometimes too we underestimate the impact we make on other people too.
Big time. There's a saying in Japan, I forgot the exact saying, but essentially, a woman, I believe like it goes like an American woman is in Japan and she's traveling, and her child runs across the street, or like they cross the street, they jaywalk.
Yeah.
And so the Japanese man goes up to the lady and she like reprimands her and is like, the undoing of society rests upon the individual, begins with the individual. So like, don't do things because eventually like other people are gonna see what you're doing, and then like our customs are gonna deteriorate.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna like have a society where there's low trust.
Yeah.
Because Japan has a high trust society in which everybody like trusts each other to a high capacity. And so I've thought about that quote for a long time.
Can you say that again for the people?
It's like, now this is not the exact quote, but it's something along these lines. It's like, the undoing of society begins with the individual. The destruction of society begins with the individual.
Right.
But the recreation of society, or the creation of society, also begins with the individual.
Yeah.
So it's somebody deciding, you know what, I don't want to live this way anymore. Let me change.
Yeah.
And then other people assigning themselves to it. And like, hey, I want to live that way too. I'm like, all right, let's create a society where we value this. This is important to us.
Yeah.
This is what we put to the forefront.
Exactly.
And we can create the society that we want to create. But it all starts with conversations like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a magical experience. The reality revolution, I'm absolutely blessed and so amazing, so grateful for all the friends and visions and time that I spent there, and just like the fire that I left with. And like, there's a vision that I had. It's like, this is crazy. So I had this vision, and it was this girl. She was just like scrolling Instagram or like YouTube shorts. She's just scrolling, and I could like, you could just see like she's depressed, like she's just like down in the dumps. She's just like scrolling, and then she ends up running across one of my videos, like one of my shorts. And then like, I'm just like so excited and just so happy, and like just so much light is coming off of me. She sees it, and then she looks at me, and she's not necessarily hearing what I'm saying. She can just see the light coming off of me, and she's like, I want that for myself. And then you can see the light in her just start to like sparkle and just start to like glow. And you can like see like that begins her journey of like starting to better herself and like get inspired. And I'm like, whoa, that's like crazy. Like such a crazy vision. And then later on in the day, this is I believe the first day, me and Sean, we had gone out to eat. This was before we were doing the public speaking thing. So we had gone out to eat, and we were grabbing some food. And I'm like, Sean, I really want to see the realities of which when Brian Scott created this event. It turns out it was his first event that he ever threw in person.
Wow.
Like, big event. I had no clue. I didn't know. It just so happened to be his first event. I was like, what are the realities that, like, Brian Scott threw this event, we all came to it, all our lives got changed. What is the reality of all our lives afterwards and the impact that we make on the world?
Yeah.
Like, what does that world look like?
Yeah.
And then versus the world where Brian Scott is afraid and scared and he never creates this event, and what do our lives look like after that?
Yeah.
Like, what transformations, like, what does that world look like?
Crazy.
And so I'm explaining that to him, and he's like, whoa, that's deep.
That's deep.
That's deep. And he's like, but what about you, fam? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, what about you, fam? What about your videos? What about what about the videos that you don't create and that you don't put out there? Like, what about the world about you putting videos out? What kind of world are you going to create? And what about the world where you don't create videos?
Yeah.
Like, what world, what would that look like?
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, hold up, brother. I feel like I'm being attacked right now. But honestly, at the same time, I'm like, thank you. Because I had never visualized it like that. What would the world look like if I didn't create content? If I didn't put myself out there?
Yeah.
If I didn't get out of my comfort zone? If I didn't get that message from God saying, hey, I got a purpose for you and you just got to fulfill that purpose. And then me going after it, not knowing what it was.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, it all ties back. And I'm like, wow, that's powerful. That's a powerful statement. And I'm like, whoa, this is like, it's such a beautiful, beautiful event. So, again, I'm just so grateful for having gone. So many reasons to say no. I ended up saying yes. So I ended up going to that event. I ended up having such a great time. And then after that event, like, I had my research showcase. So I like had a event on campus where I did research in my customer relationship management class. We did, me and my partner Keith Winters. Shout out to Keith. Keith is really cool. So Keith, we were taking this class together. He's my buddy. We've been friends since college corps. This is my first year in college corps. We're both volunteering here at College of the Desert. Funny how, like, full circle moment.
Yeah.
We're here at College of the Desert filming this episode. So we have this class together. This research, if we do the showcase, we get like 50 extra points. We both have ACE. We don't even have to do it. We just decide to do it anyway.
Right.
Just for like the opportunity and just like, again, like getting out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And like, I've never done research, like research.
Yeah.
Like, I've never done it. Like, I like feel completely out of my, like, I've done it before, but I've never like called it research, right? Like, never like called it that.
Yeah.
Because like, if you write an essay, technically you're doing research, but like never called it specifically research. And we did like a strategy for the Palm Springs Art Museum, customer relationship management strategy for the museum. And so we presented on it and like our findings. And so Keith actually works for the museum, and the stuff that we say in our he doesn't work for the museum. He works for a survey company that works for the museum. So he's a contractor.
Got it.
And so he's like we're learning things on like through secondary sources, and then he's going and confirming them primary sources.
Dang.
And like everything that we came up, secondary sources, all our research and all our results that we had come up with was the same results that they had come up with themselves internally at the Palm Springs Art Museum. So it was really cool to see that our research, our secondary research, was very on point to, and even the numbers that we gave, like expected growth based off our suggestions, they were exactly the same. And we're like, whoa, this is really cool. Like we're actually learning stuff, and our research is actually really impactful. And the reason we chose museums is because we both love art, we both love history, and we want to conserve that. And so like, how can we make loyal fans, raving fans out of the museum goers, right? And so like creating strategies behind that. So that was really cool. Then after that, just like finishing up my finals. Just like, it's been intense. It's been intense finishing up my finals. It's been like a lot of work. But yeah, that's been a catch up of my semester, brother. It's like where I'm at, and just seeing things, and it's just like constant, like more and more reminders of like, I need to put myself out there. I'm going to be putting myself out there more and more. Continue like living in that uncomfortable space of being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And then like the podcast, right? Like we had our podcast mishaps, which, I like to talk about here. So, we released our first podcast. Yeah. And then we had, like, we're going to release them every Monday. Yep. But then our YouTube wasn't allowing us to upload. So, you guys, if you guys, like, here's an update. I'll probably make some shorts on this as well. But we're going to upload every Monday. Yep. We had the videos ready. Yeah. But then when Brian goes to upload them, YouTube says file format not allowed. Brian tried everything under the sun to make it happen and make it work.
YouTube has like a specific limit. So for all like content creators, like, or people that like have an interest in like making a podcast like this, YouTube has a specific file limit where like they won't allow you to like upload like just like a 15 gigabyte video. They won't. Like they have like a certain limit. And so it's like through a lot of trial and error, we're like learning as we go with like this whole like posting and stuff like that. It's a lot harder than what we thought it was.
It's a lot harder than we thought it was. And you're gonna run into obstacles, right? You're gonna run into obstacles whenever you're on your journey.
Yeah, and so we're learning, we're adapting. I think like we're just learning as we go with this, because it's like this is technically like the first podcast like I've ever had, honestly. So it's like it's a learning experience. It really is, but we're still here. We're making it happen, and I think that's important. Is like the fact that we're still making it happen despite going through all these issues, and the fact that it's like, dude, we had so much momentum.
A lot of momentum.
Like we started just like from this one small idea of like, okay, we're gonna like talk about school, to like the second recording, it being like our first ever guest, and that was just by accident. And then it just happened to be this constant cycle of like, we have so many like up until right now, we have like so many recordings of like people that we interviewed that are just batched, just waiting to be dropped. Like it's crazy. The roster, the amount of content that we're just going to be releasing, but it's finding those intricacies. It's learning about like, man, like, okay, like like having content ready and like scheduled to be posted, and like going through all these technicalities, and like learning from like, hey, sometimes even though like we might have like sometimes it's not like even just like this, like the setup, like we're not even in the studio, we're outside, bro. Like we outside touching grass, out with the birds, out with it's no longer daylight, but it's like we're shooting this with an iPhone and recording this like with a MacBook and 2 mics, and it's like
we're out here at your community college giving you a lesson.
Yeah, dude. Like sometimes it's not about being inside the classroom. It's about being in the school of hard knocks. Like just keeping it simple. Sometimes you don't gotta overdo it. Sometimes it's just like I follow this channel called Think Media, and the beginning to all their videos is like, you just gotta press record.
You
just gotta press record, and like honestly, like that's facts. Like, you know, we live in a world of abundance where like there's so much, you know, like
abundance.
We like, my mind, I was like, man, we have the best equipment, we got it, like let's use it. But sometimes that ended up like going into like headaches and stuff like that. And now it's like, well, now that like this changes like the format of things, is like, man, like we might go with this format, like, you know, like kind of like this, like just probably keeping it simple,
doing random spots, right? It's like, because we're still learning.
Yeah,
we're still learning and switching it up, doing different things,
just trying it, man,
trying different things, and just like being creative as we can, and just like issues come up. And it's so funny because issues come up, and sometimes it's divine interruptions. So we had all this momentum coming up, and then all of a sudden, like, no videos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, like what is really going on?
Yeah.
And then like initially I was kind of like, oh man, like I felt bad because I had promised so many people like next week it's gonna come, like we're gonna drop the next episode, and like I had been giving them my word, and then like all of a sudden like no episode. I'm like, oh man. But then like fast forward to now, I'm very grateful that we didn't drop those episodes, because now Brian has got a new editing software that he's started trying out, and it's been a lot better than what he was previously using.
Yeah.
So now the content that we're going to bring out to you guys is going to be a lot better than what it would have been previously.
Yeah.
So in all sense, it was divine intervention. God was telling us, hey, you guys need to wait until you guys have the right editing software so that you guys can produce better content for the people that are going to be watching your content. And at the time, it was like frustrating, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know what it is, but there's a reason we need to wait, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. And I could tell like Brian was avoiding my text messages. He was avoiding my calls. Well, not my calls. He was avoiding my text messages.
My thing is this. Look, I don't want to come to you with no problems. I want to come to you with solutions. If I can't like come up with a solution, it's like, yo, I don't want to give you another problem. I want to give you a solution. So like my thing is like, you know, I'll get to you when there's like a solution. Like I don't want to just give you like, hey, G, we can't do this because like XYZ. Here's another excuse. Here's 10,000 excuses. Like, no, I want to fix it. I want to like make sure like it's ready to go. Like, hey, bro, like it's all ready to go. It's like a solution come to you. Like you gotta think of like a business owner sometimes. Like, what does a business owner want to deal with? Like they already deal with a lot of problems, right? Give me a solution, not problems, right? So it's like I think of like in that way. So it's like, man, like, but there comes to a point where it's like there's only so much you can do. But it's all a learning phase, man. This whole content, even like me, like having a YouTube channel like about wrestling, like there's always something to learn.
Always something to learn.
And it's like having a podcast is different from having like a regular YouTube channel, because it's like you have a certain dynamic, you have a certain mission, a focus, you know, the people that you deal with, right? The kind of like questions you ask. But it's like at the gist of it, it just comes down to like, you know, learning, adapting to the situation. Just, you know, hey, every situation, good, bad, what can I learn from this? Okay, move on. And, you know, at the same time, kind of like what, you know, iterating what you said, sometimes rejection is redirection in disguise. Because it's like, hey, you know, like how we rejected our first initial idea of this podcast, it redirected the vision of this podcast. Because at first, like how we mentioned like several times in this podcast already, is like we were gonna go, you know, that like the academic route, and like in the beginning we kind of did, because like a lot of the people that we have are associated with education, but that's not the main focus. Because like we're trying to widen our perspective of like the messaging of the impact that we have. It's like, man, like everybody has a story to tell. Everybody, not just the college kid, the teacher, the professor, the college advisor. Everybody, you know.
Everybody's got a story to tell.
And so where we are at with this, you know, in this current moment of time, is just fixing the nooks and crannies, and I think just trying to optimize to be as consistent as we can while staying true to that mission
of, making sure that we are helping people to become the best main character that they can be, and giving, allowing people to tell their story.
Exactly. And then also being real about it. Like it's not all success. Like we have failures, right? Like we have failures, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? And moving forward in spite of those failures, because like imagine like we stop dropping, all of a sudden I get pissed off at Brian, and then I'm like, no, like we're not gonna do this anymore because we can't be consistent. Like, like we're already starting off bad, right? Imagine if I pissed off at you because of that.
Yeah.
Like right now, we just lost, I don't know, 15 minutes worth of footage, maybe like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Who cares?
But like, see, it's a learning experience.
It's a learning experience. It's a learning experience, but I think it's time to, like start wrapping this up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it's gonna come out in the video, but just had a very impactful past 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting season. It's been an interesting season of growth
For both of us.
Like launching the Desert Consulting, life and health coaching,
Going to school,
going to conferences across the nation, going to El Salvador,
content
creating. You go into your WWE events. I know you've been to like 2 or 3 events this semester. Some like meet and greets.
Yeah.
You got to meet your the one that started it all.
Yeah.
What's her name? Tiffany
Stratton. There's just so much to unpack. It's just like it's a huge moment. We're both still in school as well. We're also doing that, but we're making strides. We're making strides wherever we can, and it's just making it happen regardless of the circumstance. It's like, hey, just make it happen.
Making it happen, that's right. And I'm so excited for the future. I'm so excited for everything that we're going to accomplish and everything that we're going to do and all the people that we're going to help. Just by sharing our stories and through sharing the stories of others, it's just going to be completely magical and beautiful, and like just stepping into that season of creation, right? Like I've done a lot of consumption throughout my life, but now it's like about creating the life that I want to see, creating the world that I want to live in.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's like we all have ideas, but at the same time, you just gotta have that mentality of like, you know what, like no one cares. At the same time, like no one cares. Like whatever thing you might be afraid of, like realize that it's all in your head. That insecurity of that, like you think like you have a weird nose, or like you speak weird because you might have an accent, or you feel short. Like, dude, like people don't care as much as you think because people are so busy thinking about their own insecurities. So it's like you gotta have to like understand, it's like that voice that's in your head, like you have to believe in yourself.
Got it.
Because if you don't, no one else will. And so just realize that on that other side of fear is growth. If you don't feel that fear, it means that there's no growth on that other side. It's just that comfortability. But when you move away from that there's growth. There's beauty and there's growth in struggle.
Beauty in the struggle. It's true. There's beauty in the struggle.
And so I'm just grateful that we're out here. We're making it happen. We're out here in the cold. Like we said, this is the episode of the changing seasons. Well, how poetic, because the time literally changed. We're still here and we're still making it happen despite, it being over 2 hours. We're here, man. We're here, and that's all we can do. But man, it's been one heck of a season for sure. But regardless of everything, good, bad, ugly, fantastic, there's a lot to look forward to.
A lot to look forward to. Yeah, let us know what key takeaways you got from this podcast. Let us know in the comments. Share this with as many friends as you can. Help get our messaging out there.
If you like this kind of content, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Subscribe. Let everybody know. Send this out to everybody. And let them know, like, hey, what key takeaway that you took away that you want them to listen for, or like what inspired you, right? And let us know, right, so that we can continue being motivated and excited about creating this content. Because honestly, like hearing from you guys, whether it's in person or online. Like, let us know. Like, hey, how has this helped you? How has this helped your life?
Yeah.
Because that gives us more motivation to keep doing it, to keep going, and to make it bigger and better. And yeah, we're just like really grateful for you guys' support and for watching us. And then yeah, just thank you for being here with us and for joining us on this journey, because this is going to be a very interesting one and a very fun one at that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for that. Again, like, comment, subscribe, and then if you guys want to work with us, you can reach Brian at Brian B Filming on his YouTube, or you can reach me on his Instagram. What's your YouTube for wrestling?
Brian B Wrestling. If you're a wrestling fan or are interested in the field of professional wrestling, you will like my content for anything wrestling related. That's where I showcase my fandom of wrestling. So if you're a wrestling fan, you will like that YouTube channel, because I post wrestling content. But going back to Juan, for anything, public speaking, anything, education, or you just want to follow Juan's journey, you can reach him out at...
You reach us at thedesertconsulting.com. So you can get my About Me through there, or also LinkedIn, Juan Michael Cibrian. Also Instagram, juan.csusb. You can follow me on any of those accounts, reach out to me. But also we have like the Desert Consulting, which is our coaching and life coaching company, life and health coaching company with me and my girlfriend. So we have that. So if you want to reach out, you want some coaching, just let us know, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. But yeah, so you can be the best main character that you can be. And if you want to be on the podcast, if anybody's listening to this and they want to be on the podcast, reach out. Let us know your story, so that we can help share your story and your mission and your vision and your values to the world, right? Because let's see if somebody will attach themselves to your story. So if you're interested to coming out to the Coachella Valley and sharing your story with us, reach out. Let us know. Let us know. Like, let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Juan, it's been an awesome time, awesome conversation as always.
And we just want to tell everybody real quick, welcome
to Main Character
University.
Stay tuned for the next one.
To the next one.